Good evening, everyone. How are you? You know, I'm Ted Santos, and tonight is YouTube and chill. And we are going to chill on a topic. We're going to chill on a topic that is really hot. Welcome to YouTube and Chill on our Friday night, where we talk about the intimacy of relationships and things that work and things that don't work so well. We're going to get into it all. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Cash? Good to see you here. We're talking about whether or not women are the prize. That's what we've been told. Women are the prize. So we're going to dismantle that and see if that's actually a fact. Are women the prize? Hey, Let′s, what's going on? Thanks for joining. So we are on YouTube live streaming, and I'm on Instagram. And as you come in, like the video, give it a thumbs up so YouTube can catch us and get us in their algorithms. We shouldn't be being obscene today. What's going on, PJ? Men are tired. Yeah. Yeah, that decline after 30 is drastic. I think they don't really understand that. And right, and a man is just beginning to rise. Exactly. And I don't think anyone is properly explained that to women. They just kind of let them run out there and run around wild like a dog off the leash, and then runs into traffic and gets hit by a car and don't understand what happened. Yeah, we're going to talk about, whether low body count or not. What really makes a woman the prize? Hey, what's going on, Black Ice Man? Welcome to YouTube and Chill. This is our Friday show where we take on some of the tough topics about intimacy, relationships, sex. We usually love talking about sex. We're probably going to deal with sex without question. All right. Cool. Thanks for that. Okay, good. All right, Cash. Look forward to that. So this is one of those topics that we have traditionally just taken because they just told us to believe. That's the way it is. Women are the prize. And men, you have to jump through all the hoops and get the prize. All right, cool. Sexual market value is just one way that a woman is valuable to a man. Right? And you know what? Think about it also. So what if a guy doesn't want children? What if a woman has had a hysterectomy? What if a woman just can't have children? Or the man can't have children? So what do we do with that? Is she still the prize? I mean, if we're just completely, if her being a prize is predicated on sexual market value in her womb, there are couples who don't have children. So what about them? Hey, thanks, Rick. Thank you. Great to see you in the house. Hey, okay. All right. Now I got you when I see 7th salute. Got it. Hey, man, thanks for joining. And I owe you a phone call. So we're going to chat. Just we haven't spoken this year. Yeah, if a woman's greatest value is producing children, what happens when she gets beyond childbearing years, right? So how is she still a prize? Should she be thrown out? Should men trade in women when they hit 39 or 40? So I had some thoughts. Oh yeah, absolutely. Do a show soon. Do something controversial. I like a little bit of controversy, make people think. So we're going to talk about whether women are the prize. Like this video, share it. You know a lot of guys who probably should hear this conversation, so share it with them. Like it as you come in. Love to see your comments in the chat, your questions. And found an interesting post by someone who wrote about women being the prize. I think you'll find it interesting. Your support is always appreciated. I dropped my Cash App and PayPal links in there. So any support you provide would be greatly appreciated. It allows me to continue to do the kind of work where research and I can consistently share the value I've acquired over the years and share it with you guys. Is that, I really do want to see relationships work. And it seems like the roles have been reversed a lot between men and women, and women seem to be somewhat resentful about that. And I'd like to see guys get back into a position in relationships where both men and women are satisfied. Because like it or not, I don't care how much money a woman makes and her job title and entrepreneur, there's still an expectation that women have for men. Especially on the leadership end. So I like to see you guys get back in that seat. Hey, PJ, you watched the whole thing? Oh, you were not. Yeah, we were missing you in that one, I think. Or maybe you were in it earlier. I don't remember now, PJ. I think you were in the earlier part of the video, PJ. And thank you for that. Yeah, it went... It went until about 1:30, 1:24 in the morning. Did not anticipate. Didn't see that one coming. Thanks though. It was a hot one. So I had some thoughts, guys. Wanted to share them. All right, cool. Thank you for that. So here's the way I see the way we've been doing relationships. For decades, men have been told they are lucky to have a woman, whatever woman is by your side. And I've seen it with me. I go out and people are like, oh, you're so lucky to have her. And when you ask, well, why am I lucky? No one has a credible answer. Instead, they mumble obscurities and imply sex as though sex is difficult to find. And I'm not talking about sex in the sense of women being like a lot of women are promiscuous. You have escorts, you have strippers, you have prostitutes. You have women who work in who are sex workers. So if a man really just wants sex and nothing else, there's an abundance of that. So to have a woman on my side and to say I'm lucky just to have her there for sex, that's kind of an insult to men. But we've lived with it. But here's the funny part is when you look at the dynamics of a relationship, it's really us guys who, when it comes down to it, the tough decisions, women are looking for us to be able to make those, even if they contribute. They're looking to us. They're looking for us to finance. So they're looking for us to make tough decisions and finance relationships. So when they say men are lucky to have, you're lucky to have that woman, what are they saying? I'm lucky to have someone to spend my resources on. And if I'm spending my resources, money is made for investing. Right? I'm trading my brain power, my manual labor, whatever physical or mental work I put in, I'm trading that for money, for cash. And so after putting in that hard work, I'm now going to trade that for what? To spend money on a woman who's going to give me her time. I'm giving her my time also. I mean, I'm working out through my head where the lucky part, like where the prize is, because I'm financing the relationship. I'm giving my time. Sex is mutual. We're both getting something out of it. Shame on her if she doesn't know her body. So I don't understand from that perspective. If we say a woman is the prize and I'm the one spending money, what's my return? Is there a tangible return? Because money is tangible. Women don't want to hear about, I have the potential for money in the future, which is intangible money. They want you to take them on dates and they want you to finance the household. All of that is tangible in today. Well, you know what? I even want to talk about calling a woman a prize. Are we having a guest with breasts today? That's a good question. So, yes, I did talk about men a lot in the last video. Yeah. So I want to talk about from another perspective, making women the prize is a way of doing exactly what women demand men do not do. And what do women say they don't want us to do? They say, don't objectify us. And a prize is an object. As soon as we say a woman is a prize, we just made her an object. We just objectified her. A prize is an object. There's no way around that. And here's the thing. When you say a woman is a prize, what do we do with prizes? If you want a car as a prize, it sits in the garage. If you want a trophy or anything else as a prize, it sits on a shelf. It sits somewhere until you tell it to do something. Or you show it off and then you put it back and you leave it there. But a prize has no say. It's only proof that I accomplished something, right? And that's it. So do women really want to be treated like objects? Bless, never stress. Good to see you in the house. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Cash, for that introduction. Put her on a pedestal. Right. Exactly. Like the video as you come in, guys. Yeah, that's interesting, right? So even when PJ, when you think about, you go out, you trade your brain power, your manual labor for money, and in return, you're obligated to finance dating with a woman as though your time is not valuable. She says her time is valuable. So what is my time? Is like, I don't get my time back. And if it comes to sex, well, it takes two, right? So a penis, a vagina, they both have value, right? And nature made it so we need one another to procreate. So there's equal value that we need one another. There's a complementary relationship. But it almost seems like men have very little value. We've been diminished, and it makes women the prize. And are we just there for her entertainment to make life easier for her? I mean, technically we have, and I've talked about that. Hell, look at all the buildings and bridges and cars and machines all the conveniences that we have makes life easier for women. And what do women do in return to make life easy for us? Doesn't seem like they are obligated to that. So, there's another thing. So if they're confused and need to be perceived as the prize, then they should be put on the shelf and not say anything. Their job is to just sit there and look good, make us look good. Right, exactly. But a prize is just there to sit there. Yeah, it's a good one, Let′s. Right. Like, men have no value. We're disposable. We send us off to war. We do the dirty jobs, the deadly jobs. We start all the industries, and when you start an industry, that's when you lose money. People die. Look at the oil wells, the mining industry, steel, all of that stuff. We lose lives. So, and so for decades, here's the thing that I find interesting is that for decades, women have literally defined the role of a man and woman in relationships. They define both. They define what men should do and what women should do. And women should have no roles because that's misogynistic and sexist and it's oppressive and controlling. So women want to be treated as prizes. Prizes are objects, except when men objectify women, women resent it. However, they say they are the prize, which still, that makes them an object. So maybe it's time for men to start making sense of relationships and outlining what each is responsible for. Because, guys, a lot of you are letting women lead you from the bottom, even though the woman is saying, "Oh, I want you to lead." You have sex, the man is on top, whoever's on top seemingly has control, but the woman is leading you from the bottom. And that's what our society has been set up. So here we are, the confusion and disdain the sexes have for one another. Right now, it's at an all-time high, and there's absolutely no reason for men and women to have hatred and battle one another. Yep, absolutely, PJ. Men need to unlearn everything. Yep. So here's what you all know is to compensate for the morass, the confusion we have, women use sex and say, "Hey, if I have sex with you, you should be happy." But here's the funny thing, and a lot of guys are starting to speak up. And a few weeks ago, someone here said, just because a man comes doesn't mean he's fulfilled sexually. So women are using sex to blind a man from the fact that his overall needs are not being met. And while the woman, on the other hand, gets to demand all kinds of material and romantic, that her material and romantic needs are met. And they're catered to because she's the prize and the guy is just lucky to have her. I mean, that's where we are. She's the prize. We're lucky to have her. And you pay the bills. You need to be romantic. You don't hear about women being romantic or making sure a man is fulfilled. And a lot of women manipulate men into spending their valuable resources. And yet sex is the prize, except 38% of marriages are what? Sexless. So, guys, should we bring sexy into this live stream? Should we bring some kind of sexy into it to help get the point across? Because otherwise, this is just me talking about it. And maybe what I'm saying doesn't make sense. So, yes, get the likes up because I want to bring sexy into this podcast. Yes. So let's see if we can bring some femininity and see if we can have a feminine perspective on the prize. We're going to look at the prize. We're going to get a close-up. We're going to hey, what's going on, man? Hey, what's going on, Silent Lamont? So, just hearing me talk about this, we're going to do more than that. Hello, Letitia. How are you?
Hello, Ted. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm groovy.
That's good.
So welcome to YouTube
You did
and
the
Chill.
chill. I know.
Chill.
I'm back.
We needed to bring some femininity to the conversation. Otherwise, I'm just a guy. Maybe I'm just talking, and maybe I know you've heard some of what I've said, so maybe you want to set me straight. But we're asking, what makes a woman the prize? Is that the right word? Because prize makes a woman an object. We've been told how lucky we are to have the woman by our side, and we're responsible for so many things. Yet women have defined what it means to be in a relationship. They define the man's role, the woman's role. They define our responsibilities and what we should pay for and what women should never have to pay for. And when we ask, well, as a prize, what are we getting aside? Because as a man, you can win a car as a prize. It's in the garage. You win trophies.
Well,
Prizes don't really talk. So if you're a prize, you just sit there and look nice. Don't you say anything.
whatever. um, the idiom has always been women are the prize, men are the catch, right? So if you happen to meet someone of high stature, great qualifications, uh, great attributes, they're bringing something to the table, then you are, as a man, going to deem that woman a prize. And that woman is going to deem the man as a catch.
So what makes a woman the prize?
It is her qualities and attributes that a man finds a cut above the rest. Like she's not like every other woman. He has found he has found his prize amongst all the little junk toys and junk gems or junk jewels, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, so does that explain why the marriage rates are at a record low, all-time low?
Women being a prize has nothing to do with the marriage rates or divorce rates. It's just, well, yeah, I mean, I guess men aren't finding women to be a prize lately. So
That's what I'm asking. Right, exactly.
they're not finding their prizes. I mean, it's like, having to open up a Cracker Jack box. Sometimes you get something good, sometimes you don't. So I do think that men, in this day and age, it used to be in the previous generation that men just were fine. They just, went along to get along. But I see this newer generation in this new era, men are like, screw that. No, I'm not going along just to get along. I want to be, I want more than just existing in a relationship. And I want a woman who is going to do more than just exist and give me a difficult time.
Well, even if she just exists, see, that's why I'm making such a big deal. Like when you say I'm the prize, prizes sit on the shelf.
Not necessarily.
Or they sit in a garage because you want
Not necessarily. Some people value their prizes very, very much.
Right. There's something.
Their prizes on a pedestal.
You say that again?
And they put their prizes on a pedestal. They have high regard for their prizes.
It just sits there. It's a representation of an accomplishment.
Okay, I get that. I mean, but that's not what that idiom is speaking. It's not a literal thing. It's more figuratively. It's about men who were not chasing, but pursuing women who were of the upper echelon of society. Those women weren't just sitting there and doing nothing. Those women were running entire households, socializing, networking for their husbands and with their husbands. So It was more than just sitting there. That's why this idiom was adapted so long ago.
Okay, so let's take the case. What you just said is 100% valid, right? These women ran the household. They made tough decisions while that man was out there, earning a good living so that his family had a safe and secure place to live. They had food. They had uh, a ease of mind, right? Because they had safety and conveniences for their time. And the man is doing his part, and his woman is running that household, and she's out networking and bringing value to him, and being able to brainstorm.
Well, it's not even just that, but it's the way she carried herself. She knew that she was not going to be out there doing stuff that would bring shame or embarrassment to her husband or to her family, his family.
Right,
So
right,
a
right.
woman of class and of elegance, and not one who was just out there for the streets, as we say today.
I get that. But the question becomes, what percentage of women qualify for that?
Today, or
Even back then, what percentage do you, what
it was a
percentage?
very small percentage. I mean,
Exactly.
most of those women belonged to the nobility. So the nobility was a very, very small percentage. Today, you're looking at probably less than 1% of women who could be considered a prize.
But God is, you are very generous with 5%. And you know what? Maybe even in the U.S., you know what? I'll give
Well,
5%.
across the world, 5%, but in the U.S., you have to understand how feminism in the modern era it's very low of how many women can be deemed a prize, because you're thinking of your feminine and traditional women. That's not a large segment of the female population in America.
Well, right. Well, that's for today. But I was saying, even if we go in the past, if we gave it 5%, I, I think that's valid. Like 5% of the women knew how to take care of the household and network and brainstorm and be valuable to our
But you have
husband.
to you have to think how much of the population was in the 5% back then. It wasn't, so those numbers weren't high.
Well, I'm saying that 5%, and even if we fast forward that today and keep that number at 5%, um, we could still say 5%. That's saying that 95% of the women. So that's saying, from what you just said, 5% of the population of women in the U.S. qualify for being the prize. That means 95% are not.
Well, yeah.
That's not like that's the majority. That's like,
Well, prizes are usually rare. There's something sought after. There's something that everyone wants, right? Not every woman, the majority of women in America are not something that's sought after.
so then if you can so clearly articulate what makes this small percentage of women the prize, why aren't most women positioning themselves, striving, developing themselves to be exactly that? Because there seems to be like that 95% of women still want that 5% of men. Like that, how do you fit that? That equation mathematically doesn't make sense.
Because women aren't taught to be a prize that a man can find deem worthy, value. We are Women were raised under feminism since late 60s and onward. Women were raised under feminism, so they were raised to focus on themselves. So if women are raised to be self-focused and not marry and focus on getting a career and being independent, not depend on a man, why are these women going to really carry themselves as if they're the prize? They don't know how. They're not taught. That is something that is carried from generation to generation. A mother teaches her daughter, and so forth and so forth. But those teachings stopped after the 60s.
Well, is it fair to say that still that same 5%, they still carry themselves that way?
No.
You don't think that 5% exists?
A woman who is deemed a prize is a woman of a great esteem, value. She is wanted and sought after by majority of the male population. She's someone that they would see and want to marry. She
Well,
carries herself a cut. She's a cut above the rest. She's very classy, elegant, feminine. So does that sound like majority of the female
no,
population?
no, no. I'm asking, does that 5% still exist, or is that 5% still being taught that? That was my question.
What do you mean the five? Okay, the 5% being taught what exactly?
Okay. So if we said only 5% met what you said as being a prize, right?
Correct.
Does that in 2021, does that 5% still exist?
Yes. I
So
mean, no,
I'm asking,
I say it's much smaller, but you guys keep trying to argue.
right. I got it. And that's why I said the whole thing. Like, we'll just say 5%, right? That's generous. But even if it's 2 or 1%, what are you saying that 5% is still today, let's say in the past 10 years, being educated in the way that you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. What's going on, San Diego? Um, so do most women understand that? Do most, if so, if we stay with that 5% are deemed as a prize, why wouldn't most women want to replicate that? And I understand you said raised in feminism after the 60s.
What they okay.
Hold on. Here's what I'm saying. We're seeing most marriages don't work, right? And even more relationships fail. And if you see that there's a segment of the population where they're having more success with relationships and marriages, why wouldn't women, and since women still want these guys who are high quality and earn good income, why wouldn't that 95% of women say, oh my God, we need to start doing the same things, same practices as these 5%, the women who are the prize. Like, we need to emulate the prize woman.
How would they know that? How would they know what to emulate when our media and pop culture doesn't show that? Let's shun these type of women are basically shunned and shamed and ridiculed for how they operate and engage with men. So you don't see that in pop culture, you don't see that in media. So how would they know if they're not being taught by someone else? And if they're in that 95%, then guess what? Like more than likely that they were raised by someone who didn't meet the standards. So how would they know how to engage or how to be a prize to a man? And let's face it, a lot of them don't even care. They don't want to be. They don't see anything wrong with themselves. They don't see themselves as the problem. Men just need to get their stuff together. And once men get their stuff together, then I can be everything that he needs me to be.
So what is this thing people talk about, critical thinking? I mean, does that sound like a critical thinker?
The women in the 95%.
Right. But if they're
question.
if they're thinking what you just said, I mean, is that critical thinking?
Like, are you asking me a real question here? I mean, these are women who are they're taught and raised to just focus on themselves, have fun, right? They see nothing wrong with them. They see nothing wrong with how they operate. So it's not even a matter of are you thinking critically? They're just not being taught at all. They're not being taught and they're not even seeing it. They don't see any other way.
So
You're not going to see women operate in a feminine and traditional way. You're not going to see elegance and class unless you were raised by a woman who operated that way.
okay, so here's what's interesting. You know how people say a lot of people send their representative out to meet you at first?
Yes.
So somehow they know how to emulate some of these things, femininity, right? They can do that in the beginning, right? Except it's not really who they are. It's just like a Broadway play. So they
They
must know something.
they can, well, because femininity is innate into every woman. It's in us. However, but there are just some aspects, some elements that they're not going to have. Like, yes, every girl knows how to be girly. Okay, every woman knows how to put on it. Well, should know how to put on a dress, put on some lipstick, soften her voice. But there are just some things that she's not going to be able to embody. That's going to qualify her as being a prize. I mean, she's not going to be able to get around it unless you are trained by someone who also would be deemed a prize, someone who would carry themselves in such a manner that they would be deemed worthy of that title, the prize.
So, so there's a flip side to this, and it contributes to the problem. So if women haven't been taught this, that means men don't even know to look for it. Like if they're raised with a mother who didn't teach their daughter that, like you're parents with a boy and girl, and you have no idea to teach this to your daughter, so your son has no idea to look for it. So that's
Correct.
the problem. That's
Correct.
the other part of the dilemma.
Correct. And that's why you see the comments as they are, that women are not any, women aren't a prize. There are no prizes. There's no such thing, because men aren't coming across that.
So all right, so if men don't know to look for it, then there's no demand for women to do it then.
Well, a certain segment of the population of men don't know, but there is another segment of the population that does know and understand, and they have no problem with seeking out women who they deem would be a prize. So
Right, inside of Lamont. So I hear it. The problem is the market is oversaturated with bad women, so men don't have any other choice but to accept nonsense. It's just which nonsense you're willing to take. But see, here's the deal, man. There are guys who know they don't have to accept it, and they don't. And not only do they know they do not have to accept it, women who meet them know those guys won't accept it, and they know that even if the woman has no idea how to uh, comport herself for a guy who is high quality and understands that 5% of women who've been well trained, a woman who's outside of that circle will try her best to at least mimic and do the things that she thinks she needs to do. See, that's why I'm asking about critical thinking, because if you get a woman who hasn't been trained in that and you give her shot at a guy who does know about that world, the woman is going to put on the best show to make it look like she belongs and knows what she's doing.
are you asking me?
So she knows. So women, I'm saying that, and there's a, let's say the majority of women have no clue, but there are enough women who do know better, because they know if they want a shot at this guy who is from that upper echelon, as you were saying, she knows that she has to present herself, and those guys won't tolerate anything less.
Okay, again, that's usually that happens when she gets in around him, gets into his social circle, and then her eyes are open and she's able to see, right? She's Because of him, she's able to be around and see other women who operate a certain way.
Maybe.
No, she's not. If you don't know, if you've never been around those type of people, how else are you going to know? You're not just going to get with the man and think, oh, automatically I'm going to switch over and start acting elegant and classy. No, you're gonna start noticing the women that he's around, because that's when it starts clicking for women. Because if I don't see other women that he's around and he's engaging with, I'm just gonna think he likes me for me, right? My old regular average basic stuff. I'm thinking I'm fine. He chose me, so he's fine with me. But then once I get around other women that's actually in his social circle that are that are elegant and classy, her insecurities are going to start coming out, and that's what she's going to start trying to adopt and change.
I say maybe for a reason, because the woman can meet you at first, and when she first meets you, she already knows that she's got to step up to more than she's had to be before she's been around those other women.
You don't know women very well, do you? No.
I know, because I've seen that. I've actually seen
But
that.
there was something there. There was something already in her. I'm not talking about her. That's like I call that a muffy, right? That's a muffy right there. She there's something in her. She's seen a little bit of things. She's seen a little something. I'm talking about the women who have absolutely no clue. So the monkeys, they seen a little bit, they know a little bit, they meet the right guy, and then they know, okay, I have to step up, I have to do better.
Right, exactly.
But that's not the women I'm talking about.
Well,
because
I want
into that.
I understand, and that's why.
Thank you, country boykin. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry.
So, but that's what I'm saying. So that's why I mentioned critical thinking. So there are women who you would think they've been exposed to something, but yet they won't use critical thinking to see that the path that they're taking is a dead end.
Because they choose not to. I don't understand why you're so fixated on this. Well, why didn't they choose? Okay, they've chosen not to. They've rejected that. They see that they're not the problem. Men are the problem. I don't have to step up to meet him. I don't have to change. I mean, I was in Clubhouse and there was a whole group of people talking and bashing Black people for being articulate and cultured. And you had women and men saying, that's so bougie. I don't have to step up to that. I don't have to be that. I'm going to be myself.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm saying that people know better. And what I'm getting at is there's a group of women, educated or not, who know that they're looking for a certain type. They're looking for the top percentage of guys, and yet they don't practice what you say, that 5% or 2%, whatever the percent is, it doesn't matter. Or I'm just saying 5% for sake of convenience. They don't practice that as a lifestyle, as a way of being in the world. So it's, they meet a guy and they have to, then it becomes acting for them because it's not them. And so that's why when I mention critical thinking, it's like, well, do they understand that not becoming that lifestyle is a trap that they can't get out of?
How many women come across high value men? Regardless of what they say they want and desire, but how many of them really have a shot of coming across a high value man? Not many. So
probably more than most people want to
no
acknowledge. You meet people in places, right? Especially if you're in a professional world.
Okay, these people have social circles where they are in a world all their own. So majority of women are not coming across these men.
I've put on events for those people, right? I've created events, and those were the only people, and I can count the women who were there. If you were not in a certain position, you couldn't even come in through the door. So I understand. I understand that, but those are special events, right? Those are special.
It's not even just special events. Like, you have whole community. They have gated communities where they have their own social places they go. The mall, movie theater, all of that is with their own gated communities. Why? Because they don't want anybody outside coming in. They want to remain exclusive and keep it all to themselves. So you're not likely, unless you're going to a social event and you're going to have to know somebody who knows somebody. This is why networking is very important. You're
Right.
really not likely to meet one. They're not just falling out the sky. And this is not Pretty Woman where the guy pulls up to the corner in a high powered expensive sports car and offers you a ride. That's not, it doesn't happen like that in real life. So a lot of these women don't even really have the hopes and desires of meeting someone like that. What they're trying to do is make the men that they are dealing with into such men. And they want those men to treat them like a prize. They want those men to engage them as if they're considered a prize. But
Okay.
most men understand and know that these women are not a prize because of what they're doing and how they move and how they operate. What's going on in the chat tonight? Oh my goodness.
So,
Oh man, no.
so from what you just said, even if, see, because if you live in the big cities, there's a chance, you have a greater chance of running into people like that. Maybe in some other state, maybe in most of the United States, it's more difficult.
Right. And the big cities
In
are,
New York, there are just you the chances are there,
New
right?
York and LA, yes. Because why? Because but
Boston.
we have these conversations, right? Majority of America is not big cities.
That's why I said the majority of the U.S. is not, is, you could say, it's not relevant. But you know what? Even you can say Texas, because there are a lot of,
They have, but still, even only okay. So let's see. Because New York is very out and open, and everyone's walking around and mingling with everybody. New York and LA are more than likely the places that you're going to meet someone.
exactly.
But anywhere else where you have lots of gated communities, they're not as open communities. They're not out. They really do mingle with themselves. It's not going to be that easy. Trust me when I tell you, women are trying to figure out how to get in the know of meeting such men because they're not meeting such men and they don't know how.
Well, even if a door was open, they wouldn't know how to comport themselves, so they would get kicked out eventually.
Probably more than
What's
likely.
up, Scobe? That they will eventually, they will eventually demonstrate that they don't belong there. And see, and let me tell you, even see, I actually watched a retired Fortune 500 CEO tell a guy who was a CEO of a $300 million company, if you want to move to a board of directors, you need to present yourself as though you belong there. That's and we're talking about, you know, two people who are worth millions, and except one guy is looking to go from CEO to board member level, and he's still being told, if you present yourself as though you don't belong there, you won't be there very long.
That's true.
And there's a language within, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't think about. Even if you just look within a corporation, you know, if you're a vice president, executive vice president, a C level, and a board member, each of those comes with its own respective language. And so you're saying there's nowhere for women to learn this. I guess if you're born into a certain socioeconomic class, you just maybe take it for granted.
Yeah, I didn't say that because now you have there's always been certain elements, certain resources and tools a woman could utilize, like wife school, charm school, especially
Right.
charm school.
Exactly.
Charm school you can learn, but unfortunately, women didn't know that much about charm school really. But now with the advent of social media, like with YouTube taking off, there are so many femininity movements that can help women, learn how to become more feminine, more graceful, elegant, classy. Me personally, I think it's something that's just innate in you. You learn from birth. But hey, there's always a chance to be Eliza Doolittle. So
Well, they've chased a lot of that out of women by condemning them for being feminine.
true. Now you're seeing a changing of the see. Now you're seeing a changing of the tide because when in the '90s, you really didn't see feminine women at all. You saw women walking around with big baggy clothes, combat boots on, right? Um, Now I think women are starting to realize that they want something more when it comes to men, and so there is a small segment of women who are trying to do right and do better to gain the attention of those men. But overall, majority of women don't want to do anything. They don't want to do that. They don't want to, what I don't have to do. I don't want to. They don't want to sit and learn how to speak to a man in a way that's not going to cause the situation to break down into chaos. They don't want to learn how to engage with men so that you're not sitting up there and it's getting all out of control and next thing you know it becomes physical. They don't want to learn how to temper their behavior or their attitudes. They just don't. And to be honest with you, I don't know why y'all still so focused on these women. Like, I get it. It's not enough good girls to go around, but y'all just gonna have to do what y'all gotta do to snatch you up one of them good girls. Because these women are not changing for y'all. I heard it straight from the horse's mouth. They're not. They don't care. They don't want to.
Do they understand what the future has in store for them?
They don't care. They don't believe it. They don't believe it. As long as you got the Pookies and the Ray Rays and the Dusties still willing to deal with them, even the good high value men willing to sleep with them and pump and dump and all that, buy them little trinkets here and there and then give them $40, $75. I heard is going right now. Some guy out here on YouTube is upping y'all little $40, so y'all better go check him. He passing out $75 and sending her on her way. So as long as someone is willing to deal with them, someone puts a baby in them, they're not going to change. They're not going to see anything wrong. They're not going to be willing to change. So,
And you think the light bulb will never go off on those women?
not as long as men keep engaging them. No.
No, but I mean, when I say ever, I mean ever, like 50, 60, 70.
Yeah, when they're in their 50s, old and darn near completely alone, they ain't got nobody else right now. While they're still relatively young and still able to get it in, no. But once they hit that 50 mark, 50, 60, that's when the light bulb goes on. But guess what? No one's going to want them then.
Right.
So it's too late. So then who cares by then?
Well, that's happening to women already.
It is. But unfortunately, the younger ones don't want to listen. You have older women telling younger women, listen, you want a good man? Listen, this is how you go about doing it, right? You got to do the work. You can't make it all about you. You got to make it about the man. You got to give him what he wants, what he needs, fulfill his desires, right? They don't want to hear that. Then you're called a mammy or a pick me, misogynist. And then you have men who pander to these women and align themselves with them. So as long as you have men who are championing them, they're not going to change.
So when you were saying big baggy clothes in the 90s, someone said big baggy clothes, Aaliyah was feminine in energy, not her entertainment apparel.
She was not feminine in energy any whatsoever. And Aaliyah carried herself like a tomboy. Aaliyah was a straight tomboy, and tomboys are not feminine.
Okay.
She just was pretty. That's it. She was very pretty.
So a lot of women are going to be cat women, huh?
Or like one other person said, they're gonna buy a dog. Oh, see, and this is the problem. No, look at it. She was not feminine. See, this is the problem. Men don't understand what femininity is. Just because a woman has a soft voice and she's very pretty does not make her feminine. Nothing about Aaliyah, and she will tell you she was a tomboy and she was trying to break out of that. No, Aaliyah was not. Aaliyah was not soft. She was very tomboyish. She was sweet, but she was very tomboyish. She was trying to break out of that later in her life, shortly before she died. She was trying to get in touch with her feminine side. But and that was in the 2000s. But in the 90s, when she first came out, mid 90s, there was nothing feminine about Aaliyah. So y'all really need to figure out what femininity is. Maybe that's the issue and why men are getting so caught up, because you see a pretty girl and she seems sweet and she seemed kind. Like Aaliyah was only 15 when she came out, right? So of course she's going to have that innocence about her. We're not born hardcore acting like men straight out the gate. That comes with time. And the 90s was big about girls being tomboys. I didn't go through that phase, but heck, every girl in my neighborhood went through that. Every girl I know was wearing a big baggy clothes, walked with the sag, the combat boots, with that hardcore energy. So Aaliyah was no different until they get older, right? And then if something happens in their 20s for some of them, to where they start wanting to dress more like a girl because they like a guy, and they know they have to compete for this guy. But usually in your mid to late 20s is when you start seeing those type of women start to change and start to tap into their femininity. But unfortunately, it's just not. It's not working for them.
Hey, so Jay Wall Street, he said, remember, most of the men in society champion them. So I assume he's talking about women who don't exude that 5%, what the 5% has learned about being a woman. And being the kind of, so if we're talking about being a prize, just being feminine doesn't make you a prize.
No, just being feminine doesn't make you being a prize. But however, in today's society, the fact that what makes you the prize is that you're rare, and feminine women are rare. That's just the truth of the matter. You're in that, just like high value men are in that top 20%. That makes them rare. That's why men are saying now that they're the prize. No, that's just always made y'all a great catch, right? But that's why men are now looking at it and saying, oh, I'm the prize because I'm rare. I'm out here doing something different than majority, or being something different than majority of men are being. So feminine women are rare. There's not that many.
Okay. Hey, Romeo Got Game and Rodney, thanks for joining. So here's the deal. Just being feminine doesn't make you a prize. That's just not enough. Like, you're a woman, right? So pretending to be something else just makes you look confused. So being feminine doesn't cut it. So you said values. So if you say all women have values, just because you have values, that doesn't make you a prize either.
No, what makes you the prize is the fact that you're basically rare. you're in the minority when it comes to women.
That doesn't cut it. That
doesn't cut it for you, and that's fine.
No, because rare is like, there has to be some value. You have to have some kind of value to the dating marketplace, because just saying I'm rare, almost every woman you meet will tell you she's rare.
I understand every woman will tell you that, but that's why you size her up and vet her, and you figure out if that's the truth or not. So the fact of the matter is,
it doesn't put you in that 5%. This is what I'm getting at, right? So if you want to be in that 5%, just saying I'm feminine and rare, because in that 5%, that's common.
Who cares? I mean, you have people out here, you have men calling themselves women and women calling themselves men and having sex changes. But that doesn't change the fact that some of us does not accept that you changed your gender as per se, or you're calling yourself something different. I mean, that it doesn't matter what you call yourself. What
Well,
matters is,
no,
are you actually that?
I
And there are
understand.
women out here who are in fact a prize. Why? Because they are in the minority when it comes to other women. They are highly sought after when it comes to the dating market. Why? Because they are so different. And I'm not talking about sought after just to have sex. These women are sought after because men want to marry them. How many times do in straight talk, on your Sunday show, in this chat, femininity is the number one attribute that men say women lack and they want?
Okay, here's what I'm getting at. To be in that 5%, that doesn't cut it, because if I'm a man in that 5%, just because you're rare in your world doesn't mean anything to me. There's some value that and that's what I think a lot of women are missing. And I think the flip side of that, there are a lot of men who are missing that's the kind of fact. They don't even have a consideration to look for it. So for example, you say to a man, part of a woman's value is her network. There are guys who believe, it's almost, and I don't know what they're thinking, it's almost like they think that's an insult, that I need a woman to network for me. Of course you do, because that's how the big shakers and movers are getting things done. Their women are behind the scenes, weaving a web and connecting them to other networks, to other people, investors, clients, employees. They are creating networks that get them 1 degree separation from where they want to be. They can open doors, or they know people who can open doors. And I think a lot of guys don't even understand to look for that. So a woman could be rare and not be able to bring that. She could be feminine, very pretty.
Listen, all feminine, no. See, this is what you don't understand. All feminine women understand that. All the ones who are truly feminine, the ones who are in that small percentage, that's why I'm saying they're the prize. They understand that. They understand what it takes, what is necessary, and what is required of them. And
That's
so, yes,
5%. Right, exactly. But so I'm saying that just being rare doesn't put you in that 5%.
yes, it does. It's the same as high value men. That's why they're considered high value, because they're not the majority of the dating market.
Here's what I'm saying. There are women who are feminine and they're rare because they are feminine. There are women who are actually just having high intelligence makes you rare. So
Okay.
if you're feminine and you have high intelligence, you are rare.
Okay.
That doesn't put you in the 5%.
That does put you in the 5%. Just like how,
No,
hold on. Just
because
how
you come from a lower socioeconomic class and
men,
you don't have access to a network, you
just how
are not there.
just how men are the ones who can tell you what a masculine man is, what a man is, all those qualities, the 20% of men and high value men. It's the women who determine who are high value women, who are the ones who are deemed the prize. Women who are feminine, have traditional values, and operate and move according to that are rare in this country. They are the ones who are most sought out for marriage, but they are not in abundance. So that makes them the prize because they're highly sought after. They are rare. And yes, a woman can be highly intelligent. If she's in the 2% of intelligence, that makes her rare in her intelligence. I'm not talking about intelligence. I'm talking about when it comes to dating and mating and relationships and marriage. So a woman who is feminine, traditional value, she's considered a high value woman in her own right. She's rare in America. Rare means something's not in abundance.
She doesn't fit into that higher socioeconomic class.
I'm sorry?
She does not belong in that higher socioeconomic
They
class.
got a higher
That's
socioeconomic.
where that 5% is.
Okay.
That's where the women are taught.
Women, I understand, but women don't really socioeconomic class does not really matter when it comes to women because men will date down. They always do. They date outside of their socioeconomic class.
Exactly. That's my point.
However, okay. I really don't understand. You know what? I don't understand what point you're trying to make because you keep trying to make it seem as if the 5% I'm talking about is not part of that socioeconomic class.
It is
Part of that socioeconomic class. They're not rare within that socioeconomic class, but they are rare when it comes to America overall, the population of women overall.
Right. Mainstream America. Right. I get that. Right. Exactly. What's going on, Lando? Good to see you in the house, man. Here's what I'm saying. You're saying that men value feminine women and feminine women are rare. Correct?
Correct.
That being a feminine and rare does not put you in the 5%. You can be feminine, attractive, and intelligent. It still does not put you in that 5%.
What is the 5% then?
Well, see, that's what we were saying when you first came on. You were saying that 5% of women, they are prized and they are sought after by whether you would call an affluent man or high value, whatever word you want to say.
No. I said that 5% of women are sought out for marriage by men, period. It doesn't matter if he's high value, low brow. Just about every man wants her. He wants a shot at her. Not all can get a shot at her.
But there are a lot of women that men want a shot at for sex, or to have around, but not for marriage.
Okay, these women. I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about these women in particular.
Tiny percentage. Right.
When y'all say 5, I say 1. That small percentage is sought out for marriage. Every man is talking about they want this type of woman with these qualities, with these attributes.
Right. Exactly.
That's why I said she's rare. Because there's not enough of those type of women within society.
What I'm saying, those kinds of women bring a tangible value to that man's life.
And I know that. That's what I said.
I'm saying there are women who are rare. They're feminine. They're beautiful. Except they don't know how to bring tangible value to a man's life, which then excludes them from that 5%.
Okay. I'm not talking about those women. I'm talking about the women that I'm specifically talking about within that 5%, that they're feminine. Feminine women are rare regardless. I don't care if they're in a higher socioeconomic class or not. They're rare.
But that's not
are other attributes and qualities that she has that makes her sought out for marriage.
Right. And see, you're saying 1%. That's saying 99% of the women don't even qualify. So,
well, that's because I'm a woman and I'm around a lot of women.
Right. So, if you say 1%, you're really now talking about socioeconomic class.
Okay.
See, I was trying not to make it socioeconomic class.
It kind of is socioeconomic class, but women, it kind of is socioeconomic class, but then again, it's not, because you have women who are raised in poverty, who have these qualities and attributes. Why? Because somewhere down their family history, those were attributes and qualities that were passed down to them from an ancestor, so their grandmother or great grandmother.
Right. that's probably an even smaller percentage than what you say, the 1%. Except it can get them what
Get them into that 1%.
it can get right. It can get them to capture the attention of a man who's part of that, and she'll know how. And
Well, no, because
let me say this: whatever the gap is, he would be able to help her bridge that gap.
or if she knows how to network, she can move in and get accepted by the women outright, and they'll help her find a.
Exactly. Right. And that's what. So now you understand what I'm saying. That's what I was saying.
Again, like somebody said, we were speaking two different languages. We were saying two completely different things. Like I was saying one different thing, and you turned it into another. And I think that's where we got cut off, because you're trying to, what I deem as the 5%, you're trying to make it into something else.
No. I still think you don't understand what I was saying to you.
Okay.
You never actually listened to what I was saying. What I was saying is there are women who are rare and they do not belong in that 5%. Being rare is not enough.
You do understand that. I understand that, right? That's not what I was saying. What I was saying, I simply was saying that 5% of women is rare, and they're rare because
that's already understood. What I was distinguishing was being rare is not enough.
Being rare is not enough for what?
To be part of that 5%.
Okay. I'm not following, because I'm not saying that being rare makes you part of that 5%. I never said that.
Correct. But I want it for anyone listening, just being rare is insufficient. That's all I was saying.
Okay. I don't think anybody took it that way.
I'm saying that that's why I went into the whole thing. There has to be a tangible value that she brings to the guy. So it's more than just being feminine and having traditional values that puts a woman in that 5%. So we're talking about what could get in the way of women being in that 5%. We're also talking about guys being able to distinguish, to not be able to think, oh, well, she's feminine and she has traditional values, that makes her part of the 5%. That just doesn't cut it.
No, that just makes her rare. Because it does.
Correct. That's what I was saying. That just means rare, but that doesn't put her in that group of people. That's what I was. See, I think you were just not hearing me say that.
No, I was taking it as you thought that's what I was saying. And I wasn't.
I was making it clear for anyone listening so that they don't confuse being rare as sufficient. That's what I was making it clear.
But I think I don't think your audience took it that way. So I don't think they took it and heard me saying, well, she's that 5%. The 5% is only traditional feminine women. They have other attributes, they have other qualities. I mean, there is nothing you can say that's going to be able to debate that. But you have women who are feminine and they have traditional values, but they don't fit in that 5% because there are other things that are going on. Usually they're either a pick-me or they lack the other attributes that 5% holds. So you got a lot of beautiful, cute girls out here with the makeup, wearing dresses, hair looking nice, and they're beautiful, right? And beautiful women are rare in America. That doesn't mean they're going to be part of the 5%. I was not implying that. But and of course, they have the soft voice, girly like essence. That's not what makes them part of the 5%. I was just so.
But see, here's another part, and this is what the guys were saying. It might be rare in the US, it's not rare globally, because you can go into another country and find a feminine, attractive, traditional values, and it doesn't put her in that percentage. And like Manny said, what is considered rare are the qualities which ought to be standard from the beginning. just because most women are below average doesn't make the average one special in any way. And that's really part of what I was getting at. So
Right.
you're calling it rare, but really this is not rare. This is you're just you're being a woman by being feminine. So calling being feminine rare is really kind of a slap in the face to women.
I pointed out that I was speaking specifically of women in America. And then two, no, it's not in a slap of face of, it might be in a slap of face of other women, but women who consider themselves to be very feminine, very elegant and classy and graceful, it's not a slap in the face. It's actually a slap in the face for what you just said. Because we do see ourselves as being different than most women in America because they're not like us. And we don't want to be a tribute to those type of women.
I got it. I got that we've moved in that direction, but there are, and this is what I was saying in the beginning. There are men who just won't tolerate anything less, and so when a woman meets that guy, she knows she has to be more than what her normal environment allows her to be. So just being normal and not feminine makes her undesirable. And because she may be pretty and have a nice body, she may qualify for sex, but I don't want anything more. And so just acting feminine qualifies you for nothing aside from being a woman. It's really not rare.
No, it is still rare. Her being feminine is still rare. She's still not in the majority of the population of women. She's just not qualified for marriage. Femininity in America is rare. I don't understand why you're having a difficult time admitting that. You see it all up and down in this chat, in every group that you're a part of. The men, the number one thing that they're asking for is femininity, especially in Black women, that Black women lack femininity.
Okay.
So I don't understand why you can't acknowledge that that is a quality that is lacking. And if it's a quality that's lacking, it's rare.
So let me put it this way. I don't see it as rare. If you're a woman who has no idea to conduct yourself in a feminine way, I see you as confused.
Okay. So then that's
if most women are confused, that gives them some level. They've disqualified themselves in a big way. I'm unwilling. See, I'm unwilling to accept that what's average should be treated as special. It's just like saying, well, I'm not a crackhead, so you should think I'm special. So no, I mean,
wait, I'm sorry. Did you just say that? I just got a memory of a conversation I had. Oh, did
you're actually slow. I was waiting for you to say something.
Wait, because I was going to say something.
Open the door.
Wait. No. This is coming from the guy who wants to be special. Okay, so.
No, I never said I was special. Look, here's the way you have to look at life.
Men want to be treated special, correct? Men want to be treated special. You don't want to be treated like every other man. Why is it that if women say, I don't want you to treat me like every other woman, that's the problem? Because that's what it sounds like.
But if you're being average, why should you be treated as rare?
What's average in America? Femininity is not average.
Just because
not average in America.
Just because most people became crack addicts doesn't mean.
Well, that's now the majority of the population. So
right. See, that's the point.
You're not a crackhead, you're rare.
Exactly. That's my point.
You're not a crackhead, you're rare. So majority of American women are not feminine. And that's just the fact.
Okay. They're social crackheads. They're social crackheads.
So guess what? Femininity is rare. Why? Because that's now that's the minority.
We treat the social crackheads exactly as they present themselves. Okay. You're a social crackhead, and the women who are feminine are not crackheads. They're just normal.
Okay, I get it. This is where I see. This is why there was a tailspin. Because you didn't want to really put your truth out there. You don't see feminine women as real, as rare. And that's why you're trying to get me to understand that, but without saying that. You don't think feminine women are rare, but I see it up and down your chat that the number one quality that women are lacking are feminine. Femininity is something that's lacking. So I don't know how that makes a feminine woman average when the average woman is lacking femininity.
See, Paco, femininity is not a prize. It just isn't.
I didn't say it was. That's not what I said.
It's not rare.
You understand? Hold on. You do understand being rare and being a prize are not the same thing.
We understand that.
No,
right?
You don't, because y'all keep saying and trying to juxtapose the one into the other or make them interchangeable. That's not what I'm saying.
When you're rare,
there are
special. When
there
you
are
do something special.
There is a population of women who are a prize. They're going to be considered a prize by a certain group of men. And what makes them the prize is something that is lacking and rare in most women, along with other attributes and qualities. These are women that men overall, throughout the entire population of men in America, want to marry. That's what makes them the prize, because they have the qualities and the attributes that majority of men want.
So Tory Burch said something interesting, and this may help us clarify. I think in any constructive relationship, particularly in the Black community, the man is the prize. Why? Because the prize is the one that's the hardest to replace. In most cases, it's him.
Well, hardest to replace. Okay.
Femininity is because the woman is feminine.
Here's the thing about this, and this is what irritates me about Black men, is that do y'all understand that this is an idiom that has always been attributed to women? So what I don't understand, no man has ever, I don't care if he was the lowest of men or the highest of men, even the highest of men did not attribute, sorry about that, wait a minute, did not consider themselves the prize. And that it's not until recently that now Black men are wanting to consider themselves the prize, like women, when you guys were always the catch. A woman being the prize is not saying that men are lesser in value. That's just saying that she has value.
So I guess what
always been deemed the catch, and that's saying he too has value, and he has value to his counterpart, which is the woman who is the prize.
Well, I think what he's saying is that the overwhelming majority of women bring zero value.
Okay, that's fine. We've already discussed that.
And being rare, it doesn't mean you're bringing value.
I didn't say that.
Okay. And so if it's easy to replace you, you're just a commodity.
For majority of the women in the population, okay, I'm confused as to what's the debate here, because we're not talking about majority of the population of women. We're talking about a small segment of women who are not easily replaceable.
Correct.
They're 1%, and they're not easily replaceable. Because this is the type of woman that all men are seeking for marriage.
Hey, Tory Burch, one of the things, yes, women in this very small percentage, they do bring value. And one of the things that they bring is a network. And the first network they bring is their fathers and their mothers. And that network of their parents could possibly open doors for her husband or potential husband. And a lot of guys overlook that. I have clients, and their grandfather started a company, and their grandfather, which is their mother, married a guy who ended up taking the company over. That opened the door for the father of my clients. Not everyone is marrying some woman. Not every guy is marrying a woman whose father has a significant company. except the father will have a network, her mother will have a network that can open doors, whether it's for a job, whether it's for getting investors, clients. And a lot of people, a lot of men are not clear on how to leverage that. They almost think that it lessens their manhood. But there are, and Letitia's a matchmaker. She can tell you about people who will spend more than $100,000 for a matchmaker to find a woman who comes from a certain kind of family that gets him very close or gets him through doors that will take much more than $100,000 for him to get through. Yes, it's a rare bird. If Tori, if we're talking about the same thing, and that's the point that we're making. That women who are the prize are rare birds. So all the women who walk around claim that's the point of the show. Letitia's being kind of hard. I'm saying no.
Oh, okay. I'm not being hard. I'm being honest.
I'm saying 95% of women are not the prize. She's saying 99%. I'm being more generous than her. So according to me, 95% of women are not the prize. There are some rare women in that 95%. They are not the prize. Like if you saw that, what was that? Dinosaurs, not the mama. So not the prize. And Letitia's saying only 1% qualifies as prize. So we're stripping down, and Letitia, you hear her trying to arm wrestle with me.
No, I'm not arm wrestling with you at all.
You guys know when it comes down to it, I'm going to bring out the caveman, and I'm going to handle her, even if I have to throw her over my shoulders.
We had to talk about this, but listen,
and I'm going to handle it.
No, because it seems as if you keep trying to make it about that 99%. I don't care about the 99%. I'm not even talking about them. I'm not focused on them. I'm only talking about that 1%. That's it.
Right. I understand. Then don't start saying because she's feminine, she's rare, because we're not talking about that.
She is, but no, that is.
Well, she's not in the 1%. And so Legatus.
Oh my God, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
I do understand.
Femininity in and of itself is rare.
We understand that.
It doesn't matter if she's in the 5% or the 95%. Femininity in and of itself is rare. Her being a feminine woman alone does not make her a prize. But you guys keep trying to make it juxtapose or switch out prize for rare, and they're not the same thing. And I'm not saying the same thing when I'm using those things.
No, we were getting you clear so that you didn't.
No, I already know. No, there's no need to get me clear because I know exactly what I'm talking about. I discuss this subject on a regular basis. I even coach women on this. So I already know that just because you are feminine, femininity is rare. That's all I said. I said femininity is rare, okay? Femininity, traditional values, along with other attributes and qualities is what makes the woman part of that 1%, I like to call it, okay? And there are men, and that just makes her a cut above the rest. She's rare. She's not like all the rest of the women. And femininity is the number one attribute I keep hearing men speak on, especially Black men, that Black women in America lack femininity. They want that across the board. It doesn't matter if they're a high value man or not, working class, poor, they all want a feminine woman who's going to bring them peace in the household. Peace of mind is what they say.
Here's what I was saying, that if I go to the car dealership to buy a car, I'm not going to say I want this car to have tires on it. That's automatic. The car is coming with tires on it. And I'm saying for a woman, she's coming with femininity. Because if you attempt to sell me the car with no tires and say I can drive it home, I'm not going to buy it.
You keep making an argument where there's not really an argument.
I'm not arguing. I'm only
I said you keep making
what I'm stating is saying that femininity is important is like saying putting
That's
time
not what I said,
apart.
though. That's not what I said. And I think that's the problem. Like I say one thing and you're saying you're believing that I'm
See, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Talking about femininity is like a redundant. We already got that.
no, it's not.
I'm saying that women
Very much part of
women it's like tires on a car. It's just part of it.
Okay.
It's like, okay,
part
so what? You're feminine. It's like, so what? You have tires on a car.
You're saying so what, but the men in your chat and then the men in your groups and all across these social media platforms, that's a huge deal for them.
Here's what I'm saying to them. Women who are not feminine are like social crackheads, and women who are feminine are not social crackheads. And if you treat a crackhead like a crackhead, then you'll put them in the place where they belong.
I don't know what that has to do with being a woman being a prize, but okay.
That's exactly was the whole point of, like, what is the point of talking about feminine when that's just an automatic? If you're going to be prized, that's automatic. What are the more valuable things that men need to know about?
Men need to understand that is part of it. That's all I'm saying, is that is part of it. Like, do you understand there are men out here who don't understand that feminine women exist? They think there's no such thing. You hear it in the chat. I seen it in the chat room. There aren't any feminine women out
there. We got it. We got it. Okay. We don't even need to keep going on with whether women are feminine or not. We got it. If you meet a woman who's feminine, that's rare, but that's not enough for the 5%. So what makes a woman in the 5%? See, we're not talking about the other things that puts.
I did tell you about the other things, but you stuck on the word rare and went with that and went on a tangent about that. So
what are traditional values then?
Traditional values are what traditional values are. I mean, there's no explaining.
Yes, these are the things men need to know about.
Right, but I'm saying if a man has to ask what is traditional values, then you don't know. Then yeah, there's no point. You can't describe traditional values. It is what it is. It is the traditional way of doing things. Conservatism. That's traditional values. Submission. Men being the lead, being the head of the household. Women submitting. That's traditional values. Men being the breadwinners, women being the nurturers. They take care of home, they take care of the children. That's traditional values.
So being conservative and being submissive and caring and making the decisions in the household, those are part of traditional values.
Did you say conservative?
The first thing you said was being.
No, it was not. Conservatism was not the first thing that I said, but yeah.
I misunderstood, or we have to play this back because that's.
You gotta play it back because that's not the first word.
That's what I heard. I heard you say conservative.
Yes, but that wasn't the first thing I said.
What did you say? Conservative.
I did say conservatism.
Good. That's all I'm saying is being conservative, right? And I said the other things.
Okay.
And that's all it takes to be a traditional woman.
Traditional man, traditional woman.
Okay. So, and what else? So we got it. Traditional values, being feminine. What are the other things this 1% or 5% of women have? Gracefulness,
elegance, class, social etiquette, social grace.
Whoa, social etiquette. What is that?
Social etiquette is knowing how to conduct yourself in certain spaces, knowing the right words to say, knowing all about just the little things. Like if you're going to host a party, knowing how to host a party, all the little intricate details that go into hosting a party, being a guest at a party or an event, knowing the right things to say, knowing the right things to wear, how to walk, um, how to, just carry yourself, and part of networking. Networking is part of social etiquette.
So how does any of that, so all the things that you're saying are so far, none of it is directed to the man. So nothing is directed of value to the man.
What do you mean nothing is directed of value to the man? Because
Well,
there are men who value those qualities and attributes,
yes, they value those, but
and that's what they want in a wife.
I understand what that, those are all indirect. What's directed? What are the things if you talk about etiquette? Because if a woman is only good for treating everyone else around the man really well, like his
Did I
children.
not mention submission was one of the first things? Those were the first things that I said. She's taking care of home. She's taking care of her
Maybe
family,
I don't know
care
what
of her
submission.
children.
What is submission?
Submission is yielding to the authority of another.
Okay. But how does that actively take care of the man? Like, how is that proactively take care of the
She
man?
is completely under his authority, meaning what he says goes. She is meeting his needs. She's focused on him, what he needs, being his helpmeet.
Okay. So what's her etiquette with him?
What do you mean? You asked some of the I can't. What do
No,
you
no, no, no. Listen,
her
listen.
etiquette with him?
If a woman knows how to, so I got it. She can submit.
Do you understand what submission and cooperation looks like? I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be funny or anything. But if a woman is submitting and cooperating, that is her social etiquette with her husband. She's not out there wilding out on him and questioning him and treating him like some little dusty male that she met on the street. No, she knows how to comport herself with this man. She's not treating him like he's below her and beneath her.
I understand.
She holds him in high esteem and high regard, and he is first in her life. He is above all things. He is above the children. He is above family, other family. He is above friends. He is the ultimate authority within that household, within their marriage. You have that. What else do you possibly need? Social etiquette. What? She's kind. If she's going to be kind to other people, guess what? She's going to be kind to you. She's going to be nurturing. She's going to be considerate.
Right. So if we step outside of that 5%, you will find a lot of women who are kind socially to strangers, and they are not kind to their spouse. So they are kind to everyone in church, and when they go home, they're not kind to their spouse. So that's part of what I'm getting at. There are a lot of women who understand how to be kind in public, almost like putting on a Broadway play, but yet their husband is not a recipient of that kindness. So that's part of what I'm asking, and what I'm asking when I ask about her etiquette towards her husband.
Okay.
And so what other value? So, I would assume sex is part of it. Statistically, couples that have sex 4 times a week or more earn higher incomes and have more fulfilling relationships than couples that have it less. So it would seem that she would be sexually available to that man.
A helpmeet is there to meet all his needs. So if he has a sexual need, she's there to meet it.
Okay, all right. Um, and what else? So what other things that are directed towards him that she would do to be in that 5% or 1%?
A woman who is submissive, cooperative, feminine, considers herself a helpmeet, what more do you require of her? She's basically in the mold to do whatever it is that you need and require of her. She's, as far as her characteristics and her attributes, you're judging her, you're vetting her on those things,
I
right?
understand.
So all that's left is to make sure that she is submissive, cooperative, and basically on your team, on your plan, your vision.
Well, hey, chaos for you. I think she's saying when she's submissive and she takes care of the home, the cooking and cleaning is handled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that I took that stuff was handled. She was taking care of the home and the children.
All the domestic duties are going to be taken care of. She's taking care of home. She's taking care of the children. She's taking care of her husband. In whatever way that he has um, directed her to do so. So it's not about her. It's not about, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. No, no, no. It's about him telling her, this is the vision I have for the family. This is how I want my household run. This is your role. This is my role. And there's nothing really left to be said.
Well, that means she's also uh, under his vision in making sure the children are getting the optimal education, and she's overseeing that.
Correct.
Meaning she's engaging the teacher, the school, the board of ed, whatever the hell she has to do to
Correct.
make sure, or their homeschool, whatever, it doesn't matter, but she's overseeing that to
Correct.
ensure those kids are trained and developed to have success in their future. And they can understand daddy's vision also at some point. But there are things that actually happen in that 1% uh, that you haven't addressed, and that's why I keep asking what else.
And that is,
So the woman is a very active participant with her husband, and it happens at the dinner table because the kids the kids are getting an education at dinner time, and part of that, well, that education at dinner or in the family room, wherever it is, that mother understands her husband's line of work, whether it's as an employee or an entrepreneur or a professional executive. And she is able to engage her husband. It doesn't mean she needs to be able to do the same job, but what she provides is a brainstorming, like some people call it a mastermind. Like the guys who are really serious, their wives are part of a mastermind group for them, which
I
means they are able to engage their wife in such a way that that's how she's able to actually network because she has a full comprehension of what he does.
I understand what you're saying, but the reason why I didn't mention that is because I have conversations with several men about two components, and they don't care about those.
Well, it's that's you're not talking the 1% then, because when you're talking that one like a real 1%, those women actually, if you look at Bill Gates and his wife and how active she is in the
Okay.
things that he does. So
Well,
there are a lot of guys who earn high salaries or they're small business owners. They're high
okay,
salaries with a job.
okay, I get what you're saying,
Yeah,
but
they actually don't come from that socioeconomic class, so they don't even know to look for those things.
other than being FLOTUS, what did Melania Trump do? She didn't do
We
anything.
most people don't know what she did.
She did, but she no. I mean, that's not true. She really didn't do anything once
We
she.
don't know. We don't
No,
know.
no, we do know.
Here's what we do know is
No,
Trump's first wife was very active in his
and
business.
that's why he divorced her because he didn't want her to be that active. He
Oh
wanted
yes, he did.
no, he didn't. He appreciated and he allowed it, but after a while, then he met Marla Staples, who didn't really want to get too involved in his business, right?
I
So
don't.
hold on,
It sounds like you don't have enough inside information
let me
in
finish.
assessment on
Well,
that.
did you read his autobiography? Did you read Ivana's autobiography as to what she felt happens in her marriage? Donald did not want her. She did not want to be just sitting there and doing anything. She had to really, really needle him to be able to do more and be more involved in the business. Then he meets Marla. Marla didn't want to be involved in his business, except when they get married, she wants to be involved in other things. Melania,
what were the exact words? What was
still wants to be married. He's still married to Melania because Melania just wants to exist. Melania just wants to be. She doesn't want to be all up in Donald Trump's business.
What were his exact words?
She doesn't need to be this powerhouse. She doesn't need to see them as this power couple. She's fine with being a wife and a mother. Then I talk to other men. They're the same way.
Trump's exact words. What were his exact words about his first wife?
Don't need their wives to be all up involved in their business.
What were Trump's exact words about his first wife?
What do you mean? What was his exact words? Do you know what his exact words?
He didn't. That she was in the business, and that was a problem. What was it?
What did he give her? I don't know what his exact words are. I can't remember the exact words, but I know what the context of what he was saying was is that he did not need her to do what she felt she needed to do as a contribution to the marriage. That's not what he wanted.
So it sounds like she steps out of bounds.
She steps out of bounds because she tries to involve herself.
He said, "I'm fine with you working in my company." But now you're trying to step into something else. And I actually see other guys who are CEOs of companies and their wives try to give advice on certain things. And it's like, you're stepping out of bounds, honey. That's not what I need from you.
But Melania is the best. And he said that he loves Melania because everybody who has known her, studied their marriage, looked into their marriage, he is at his happiest with Melania. Why? Because Melania doesn't want to be involved in his business. Melania just wants to be a wife and a mother. And I don't understand why that's not enough. That should be enough for a woman, as long as she's willing to take care of you, take care of your home, and take care of your children. That should be enough. And there are a lot of men who desire that. They don't need you to brainstorm with them. They don't need you to talk about business and all
this. Yeah.
They just want you to possibly be an ear and just listen. That's it.
Do you understand that that's part of brainstorming? That every last one of the CEOs I speak to have conversations with their wives, and their wives give input. Not only input, when they start interviewing for people when that CEO is interviewing for other people, they almost always have an interview where they tell that prospective person to bring your spouse, and they have like a double date. He wants his spouse. So his spouse has to have the intelligence to be able to make some kind of assessment.
Okay, I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm saying the reason why I did not add that into that is because in talking to several men, lots of men, throughout several platforms, that's not something that they're focused on.
I understand.
And there are men just
hundreds. I've spoken to hundreds.
And I understand that. That's why I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm just saying, for me, what I've come across is something different. So I understand there are men who want women to network and brainstorm. I also know there are men who don't require those attributes.
I understand. And that may have a lot to do with whether you're actually speaking to people in that 1%, okay, they're in that 10%.
Okay. I find that very insulting what you just said, but okay.
How?
Because you're trying to negate what I'm saying and saying, oh, you must not be speaking to the right people because this is what I'm saying on this, and this is right. But what you're saying is wrong. You're not speaking to because you're not speaking to the right people. You don't know 1%.
That. You said 1%.
You keep making this about socioeconomic class when I'm talking about women being the prize. When women being the prize is not really about a socioeconomic class, because women can jump socioeconomic class unlike men can.
Right. And
it's not about the 1%. I don't know where you're getting that from. I'm not talking about the 1% of men.
They need to be able to bring something to belong in that world.
They bring what those men require them to bring. And for men, it's not the same. It's not the same for every man. They require something different. So so you would be a man who requires a woman to have a network, right? And be able to brainstorm with you. I get that and I accept that. But I don't understand why you don't accept that there are some men who just don't require it. They just want their wives to be wives and mothers, and that's it.
And that's why we're having this conversation, because there are a lot of men who don't know that you can actually expect that.
I think they do. I'm not gonna
There are lots of men who say I would never. There are lots of men who put no value on their woman's ability to network.
But they put the value on what they put the value on. It's not for you to say, "Oh, you have to value this," or you're getting it wrong, or you don't know any better. I'm not gonna count men out like that. I think these men are intelligent enough to understand what it is they want and what it is they desire. That's why when you do see men, and now I'm talking about socioeconomic class. Now, when you do see men of a certain stature, men of a certain tax bracket, you don't see the low marriage rates and the high divorce rates that you see in the lower classes.
That is correct.
These men know exactly what they want.
That's correct. That's correct. And that's why most women, even if they are rare, wouldn't fit into that, because they wouldn't understand the rules of engagement.
Okay.
So if people do want to move up, then understand what a team, and understand what successful couples are doing. And if you don't understand, see, like you said, most women don't understand what that 5% of women are being taught from their mothers and grandmothers. So if you only talk about a portion of it, then there's a whole nother side that's left out, and they'll have no idea how to prepare for that. Opening doors is important. And there are women who can do that. And it may not be them directly. It may be their father or their mother or some grandfather or some other relative.
We're gonna have a staring contest.
I was reading the chat.
Oh, okay. I like something that someone said earlier. And I meant to address it.
What's that?
Hold on, I have to go back and find it.
So chaos for you. See, but the things that I'm saying, like a woman who can brainstorm with you, a woman who can network with you, that means she has some sweat equity in your success in your life. She's contributed to it, like tangibly. And if she doesn't want to see her contribution, her sweat equity get flushed down the toilet, she's going to take care of you in a way that you will be successful in her network or in your network. Like, she's got a vested interest in you having a good state of mind. So like respect becomes almost like the tires on a new car. It just comes with the territory. And that's why I'm making a big point out of this, because if a woman has actually put in an effort and contributed to your success as a you say a helpmeet or a team player, because she's made connections that gave you new clients, she'd be pretty foolish to disrespect you and have all that get flushed down the toilet. It's just a different kind of woman who has some sweat equity in your success. So what was the comment you were looking at?
I can't find it. It's way at the top, and I'm not scrolling through all that.
See, that's why I'm really making a big deal of this, because when a woman engages you that way, she's in it. She's got skin in the game. And I think just the way a lot of relationships or marriages are set up, the man has everything. He's got all the skin in the game: his money, his emotions, his time, his assets, and she can walk away and not take a hit anywhere. But when a woman puts skin in the game, when she has real skin in the game, like she's given this man access to her network, she's actually supported from a brainstorming and not trying to overstep boundaries and say you should run it, like telling the guy how to run his company.
So I found the quote. I found the comment. Jay Wall Street. He said, just like they have to fight for high value men, we have to fight for high value feminine women.
It's and see, so imagine, listen to what I'm saying. If a woman is brilliant and has a great network and she can brainstorm with you, and when you brainstorm with someone that you have that kind of trust with, your even your mind opens up. You have a deeper intimacy, and she's opening doors, and you know that this is that kind of woman. Yeah, you're going to make sure you get her instead of someone else. That's like getting the star quarterback, and you don't want the other team to have him. So I get that. You have a competitive advantage. Most people don't know Mrs. Ford was Henry Ford's competitive advantage. That's what I'm getting at.
I know what you're getting at. I understand what you're saying. And it seems like that's something that's very valuable to you.
No, it's not to me. I'm talking about what I see work. Forget me, take me out of it. I see it work.
I get that, but you have to admit there are men who just, it's not a big deal for them.
They haven't even
just simply say, because let's face it, Melania is a trophy wife, right? So you're gonna say Trump doesn't know any better just because he chose to have a trophy wife, a woman who just is happy with being a wife and a mother. I'm pretty sure he knows.
I don't know their dynamics.
That's their okay. Well, that's their dynamics. She's not doing anything. She's not sitting on any boards. She's not has any part in his business. She's a socialite. She's happy with being a mother and a wife. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not even knocking that. But I'm just saying you can't even acknowledge that there are men out here who don't require all of that. They really do just want women who are going to be a wife and a mother, and that's it. Because he's taking on everything else and he's focused on everything else. And he doesn't need her getting involved in the heavy lifting. Heck, he wants to come home. Sometimes he wants to come home. He don't even want to talk. He just wants a meal and maybe some sex. And then,
how do you know this?
I talk to men.
No. You're talking about Trump or just men in general?
No, I'm talking about some men in general. I'm not talking about Trump. I don't know if they're still having sex.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell do you know this about?
I'm like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about Trump having sex.
Okay, all right. So look, I get what you're saying, and there are guys who don't know that they can demand more than that from a woman, and there are women who don't know they can develop themselves to do that. It actually works. I see how it works because you have a very different kind of relationship when you're working together, and when your woman understands what you do, there's a different kind of support. And now I'll speak personally, and I know other people have done the same. I've seen guys have their wives help in a company, and not even on a full time. But I was in a relationship, and I brought a woman in I was seeing to work with me, and it changed the dynamics. It changed the care. It changed how she supported me. It had a big change, and it also changed the way she spoke about me in public, whether I was there or not. It had a huge impact on the way she saw me, and it brought a different kind of respect because she understood more profoundly what I did, and you could say even gave her a sense of pride into the kind of man that I am. That's part of what I'm getting at also. And women do have a sense of pride about their men. Just like as little boys, we all think our fathers is the smartest and the strongest. We brag about our fathers. We'll even argue with our cousins and other friends that no, my dad's the best. But women like being able to say that too, and being able to say it with some evidence to support and back that up, and not necessarily to throw it into someone's face, but really to know what kind of man her husband is. That also supports, it reduces the likelihood of a man having affairs with someone at work, because the women at work will acknowledge that man like, hey, Bob, you know, that you knocked the ball out the park. But when his wife can give him the same kind of positive feedback, it's very helpful. Right, faceless man. Right, the bare minimum. And that's the problem. That's what I'm killing in this conversation, is the bare minimum.
So a wife, a woman wanting to be a wife and a mother is the bare minimum for you, is what you're saying. She needs to be more than just being a wife and a mother.
So let me just throw something. What if I don't want children?
I'm sorry?
What if I don't want children? So now what?
Okay, then.
What if she can't have children? Like, so, you know, that.
Well, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones who can have children, the ones who want to have children.
Right. And one day the children are going to grow up and leave.
Okay, but I'm talking about the ones who have a desire to just be a wife and a mother.
I understand. And even those, the children are going to leave one day.
But are you going to answer the question? Are you saying that you need a woman, your wife has to be more than just a wife and a mother?
Yeah, I mean, I as a wife, what is she doing? No, I don't know. I don't know. What is it? When you say wife, what are you saying?
If I shouldn't have to describe your wife to you. Okay, let me ask you, do you want to get married?
Sure, I'd get married to a woman who can actually be on my, who can be
no, it's just a yes or no. Jesus, geez.
Quarterback. She's the quarterback.
Do you want to get married? It's yes or no. Yes or no.
Today, no.
I didn't say today. I said, do you want to get married? Why are you being so difficult? Do you desire marriage?
Are we getting married?
Do you desire marriage?
Is it you and I getting married?
No, I'm asking you a question. Do you desire marriage? Come on.
Do I desire marriage?
Do you desire to get married?
Desire. That's a big question. That changes the whole thing.
Jeez.
Do I desire to get married?
Desire, want, it doesn't matter. At some point, will you marry?
So let me say it this way. The direct answer to your question is yes. And if I'm getting married on my terms, the answer is yes.
That's it. So yes, you desire marriage. So you're saying your wife has to be more than just a mother and your wife.
Well, I don't know because what I'm describing is a wife.
Your wife has to be more than just a wife, which is a helpmeet and a caretaker.
But I'm describing a helpmeet.
No, you're describing other attributes of the wife, but sometimes wives just see them when you say wife, you're thinking of domestic and a mother. She's taking care of the children.
None of that is directed to me, though.
Because I'm trying to ask you a question and you don't even want to answer it. You're not taking the time to listen. You keep interrupting me because you don't want me to ask the question. And then two, you don't want to answer it.
I answered your question to give you a direct.
Yes. You said you gave me yes and you added more, but I'm not done. So yes, you desire marriage. So I'm asking you, Is it enough that your wife just wants to be a mother and your wife? So she only wants to focus on the domestic duties and taking care of you and taking care of the children. She doesn't want to be your business partner. She doesn't want to be your secretary. She doesn't want to be your thesaurus. She doesn't want to be your encyclopedia.
What?
She doesn't want to be your copier machine. She doesn't want to do anything but be your wife. Meaning, you go home, you get up in the morning, she cooks your breakfast, right? Make sure you have lunch. When you leave out, she probably brings your nice little picnic basket to your work so that you can have lunch. When you come home, you have a nice dinner waiting. You have gentle, peaceful conversation, right? But it's not about business. It's not about brainstorming. It's probably about the children, how your day went. That's it, right? Children are tucked in, and then you take some time to yourself to unwind, and then by the time y'all going to bed, y'all have a little sex, and then that's it.
Yeah, I never need time to unwind. And I never ever need anyone to bring me peace. That's something I do clearly on my own. Like I would never be a guy looking for a woman.
Answer my question, or are you going to just
No,
try to break everything
no,
down?
I mean that none of that even makes sense. That's an
How does that
incomplete,
make
that's
sense?
an incomplete relationship.
Okay, so again, so what you're saying is no, my wife has to be more than that.
I don't want a secretary and a photocopier.
Listen, it's fine. Whatever type of wife you want, whatever type of marriage is your marriage. No answer is the wrong answer.
I named two things.
Okay.
Able to engage me in conversation, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the other was have access to a network. That's two things.
Okay.
And those are two natural things because everyone has a network.
No,
But is your network appropriate for me?
not everyone has a network, but
No, everyone knows someone. Whoever you know is your network.
okay, you got a point there.
Everyone has a network.
Okay, well, so you require more of your wife, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is fine. I don't know why you gave me such a hard time in answering this question.
You like a hard time.
Yeah, no, I like something else hard, but I don't like a hard time.
So look, marriage is a legal binding contract. There's no way around that, and it's sanctioned by the government. So, if a woman was going to be my wife, she needs to be prepared for a certain mindset. And if the things I'm saying sound like pressure or above and beyond,
Mm-hmm.
she's just unprepared. And she doesn't belong in that 1%. She belongs in some other percentage, and it just doesn't get her to the 1%.
So let me ask you something. Do you require submission?
Cooperation. I don't care about the word submission.
Cooperation is something completely different. Sounds like you need submission.
I don't care about the word submission.
Okay, so cooperation means I have cooperation means we're both having, because you said you will marry a woman as long as it's on your terms. Cooperation isn't about your terms. Cooperation is about both of your terms. A meeting of the minds. Compromise is required for cooperation.
That's a valid statement to me.
But in hearing other things, hearing you talk when you said on your terms, that sounds like submission to me.
Okay. Why haven't you submitted to me?
Because you're not my husband.
Well, you have to submit to be my wife.
I would have to be in a courtship for that to happen.
You'd have to submit to get to
You're not the authority of me.
I'm what?
You're not the authority of me.
I'm the authority, period.
Okay, not of me though, because you're not my husband.
You're not on this planet.
You're not my covering. You're not my head of household. You're not the breadwinner. You're not my husband. So no, I'm not
qualified for all those things.
I'll cooperate with you, but I will not submit to you because you're not my husband.
You'd have to submit way before being a wife.
Of course, you'd have to submit during the courtship process.
You have to submit before courtship.
No, you do not.
How else will I know? See, the women in that 1% understand that.
No, that's not
They're in it.
true. That is not true.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, submission is not something.
I've met enough of those women. I've met enough of those women.
Submission is not about cooperating. Women understand, and women will naturally cooperate.
That's
submission is completely different. Submission is I'm yielding to your authority. You are my superior. That is reserved for husbands. Why?
So all I have to do is prove that I'm the superior?
No, you have to prove your husband material.
And I have to be superior to be husband material, correct?
No, you have to prove that you're husband material. That would make you my superior. You are the authority. You have authority over me.
Well, so to be a husband, I have to be a man, right? First, I have to already be a man.
Be my husband.
No, I'm asking you.
You have to qualify to be my husband.
I'm asking. To be a man means I have to already be a husband. I mean, to be a husband means I have to already be a man, correct?
Yes, you have to be a man. No, wait a minute. Are you talking about me or in general? Because now,
for you.
Oh, me? Yes, you have to be.
And other heterosexual women. So to be a husband, I have to be a man first.
Right.
And once I become a husband, I'm superior. Except if I have to be a man to be a husband, I also have to be superior to be a superior husband. I have to already.
That's not gonna work. Sorry.
Oh yes.
That was cute though. That was cute. Nice try. That was cute. You do that with the ladies, huh? I see you. You're a charmer, Ted. You are a charmer. Look at you.
You found that charming? I was throwing you over my shoulder.
No, you weren't throwing me over your shoulder, sir. I see your game. You got some good game. The ladies will be, you'll get them wrapped up like a pretzel for over that one, but not this one. That isn't work.
Game is for guys who need it.
I like what Faceless Man said. You, at the very least, you need to submit to the relationship. And I agree with that. Like once you're in a relationship, once we're courting and you have determined that you see me as someone that you want to seriously court for marriage, you are now my authority. I am submitting to you, but you have to show that you have the qualities of a husband. Because while you're vetting me, I'm vetting you too. So so submission is reserved for husbands. Guess what husbands do? Husbands protect and they provide.
Right.
So it's like men want it to be one way where the woman has to start off giving everything, but she gets nothing in return. So where's the provision and the protection, sir? I'm just,
Come on down. It's waiting for you.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a list of my bills.
You have to be here. You bring the bills with you.
No. Why do I have to bring the bills? I can submit right where I'm at, and you can pay.
I'm not the administrative office where you submit your invoices to.
Oh, but you want me, but it's okay for me to submit virtually.
You have to come yourself. You have to bring them yourself. This isn't an email service. This isn't a virtual world. Well, then you have to bring yourself in person to receive my submission. So great. You need to come to where I am.
No, that's not how that works. You come to where I am.
You come to the man's kingdom.
You come to where I'm at.
No. The woman always goes to the
I know you float. You want to flew somebody. You want to get flued out. You want
Hey. The woman goes to the man's kingdom.
Listen, I'm not above getting flued out, as they say, that new word, flued. I'm not above getting flued out.
You go to the man's kingdom, and there's not even a debate. Not even a debate about it.
Listen, all right, fine. Buy me a plane ticket. I'm all for it.
Got it.
And I'll come with my bills in hand.
Good. Then I'm going to show you my bill.
Oh, I got to pay for it in full, huh?
I'm going to turn you into a prize.
Listen, this sounds like some Pretty Woman escort service type, like a transactional thing.
You set that up, not me.
Whatever. No, I simply said if you want a woman to operate like your wife, you have to operate like her husband. It's not one-sided. And men seem to require so much of women, but they're not willing to give. Y'all think, oh, just dates? and then she's supposed to submit to you because you're taking her on dates. Where is the provision and the protection, sirs? Where? Y'all want to do the easy part, but y'all don't want to do the real part.
So what's the real part?
The real part is stepping into the role of a husband. If you want to be your husband, you want her to be your wife, step into that role.
But most men are good at that, actually. Statistically speaking, if you look at the statistics, most men are actually good. And it's
men don't want to pay any bills. They're talking about, I'm not paying any bills.
No, most that look. So okay, so we already established being feminine is rare, right? So if you don't bring femininity, you already lost.
Okay.
And so we know that it's only so most men are willing to do it. It's just finding a woman who's qualified for that, and just the most simplest thing is rare to find. That's ridiculous.
You know what? And I agree with that. But y'all still are willing to deal with that woman and take what she's willing to give you instead of just walking away and moving on to something else. I will never understand that. If you meet a woman whom you know she does not qualify for marriage, you're not going to marry her. You still want to entertain her and deal with her. Why?
So ask the men in the chat.
That's what I'm asking.
So make your question clear, because it's not rhetorical.
It's not rhetorical. Why do men still entertain and deal with a woman who they have deemed she is not marriage? He's not going to marry her. You can answer that question too. You're a man.
I'm a superior man, so I don't have to answer that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I'm husband material.
Richard said that's easy. She has a big ass. So Richard's a big ass guy. Hi, Richard, my sweetheart. You know I adore you.
So Richard gets sucked in by ass. Okay. Some guys get sucked in by tits.
So is it sex then? Like you'll deal with a woman whom you know you're not going to marry, and you'll still deal with her. You still engage her. Why? So it's sex, basically.
So it sounds like she's what do you call it? A placeholder. Like she's just filling in a void for the guy.
And does she know that? No. Like she doesn't know that.
So that what your statement is valid, right? Let's say the majority of women don't know it. And then there's a percentage of women who do know because they know they really don't qualify. And they just enjoy it for what they can get.
That's not okay.
Well, she gets taken out to dinner.
But
she gets to go places on his dime, right? In his time. And she knows that this is never going to turn into marriage, except she may be unqualified because one, if she doesn't bring that first rare quality, which is femininity, right? And you hear women say, I know I'm not the kind of.
Leave me alone. I can't. I wanted to make up for last time I was on camera. Remember, y'all got mad because I was in the sweatshirt.
Exactly. Right, Brian. Exactly, Brian. So if the woman is, see, they're both getting paid off to be in that situation. So I get what you're saying, right? So.
But still, she's thinking you're moving towards a future. She has no clue because most men don't tell a woman, look, this is not going any further. And most women don't have the courage to ask. Me, I'm different. I will ask. Where is this going? And so they don't tell the woman that this is not going anywhere, but y'all still would take from her, and she's trying and she thinks she's on the right path. Why? Because she has no clue that she's about to be replaced.
So I want to answer Richard's question. Richard, the answer to your question is a woman's ability to prove that that she exists. So as you're a computer guy, if she cannot prove we exist, then she may have proved that she's just in some reality game where she's driven by she's a function of algorithms, right? So you smack her hand and it hurts because that's what the algorithm says. So we may all be in a virtual reality game with no proof that we exist. So if she can prove we exist, I'm sucked in. So now let's move on.
Oh, okay.
So Richard should understand that answer.
I understand that answer too.
Okay, good. So I'm giving an enormous amount of validity to what you're saying, that the guy is not being straight, you know, like, and you hear people talk about a woman who is a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, and the guy is a 9, and it's never going to manifest into anything serious except he's hooking up with her, and she now has a false sense of security that all guys who are 8s and 9s are going to.
All right, I have to take a short break real quick, so you're gonna have
to. I'm saying it's a valid thing that you're saying there. So
okay.
And I'm saying the woman is getting something out of
it. Richard said a woman needs to prove you exist. So that means if she doesn't think you exist, you go poof. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay. Woo.
Sorry,
I'll be right back.
We didn't mean to bore you. So, do you guys think that one of the big challenges is that the small percentage of women that are out there, that some guys are missing that percentage because they're playing with the women who actually don't qualify? Is that one of the problems? Because most women don't qualify for even a relationship. So are too many guys playing with those women? And look, and I understand that someone said it earlier in this, that the amount of qualified women is so low that it's almost like you don't have a choice. But I just wonder if also men are accepting low standards from women, so women don't know any better and they think what they're doing is just fine. So, right. So if you pump and dump, so one of the things women are delusional about is that just because a man wants her sexually means that he wants her, she has a chance. And she can be a woman who has absolutely no shot with this guy, whether it's for looks, whether it's for intelligence, or whatever other criteria. She's missing all of it. Yet he'll play with her, he'll have sex with her, he'll pump and dump her, and she's building up this whole fantasy in her mind. So are men partly contributing to this? So you and Brian, you say conditioning. So that's part of men are actually conditioning women to be delusional and believe that, well, if you want me, or not only you want me, you never said anything about expecting more from me than what I offered. So, and then when some guy comes along and says, hey, well, you don't qualify. And she's like, well, you're the only guy to ever say that. I've never heard anyone say that. She's delusional. So why aren't men having these conversations? So like when Letitia was saying that I was pushing the envelope and saying women need to bring a network. She needs to have the intelligence to be able to talk to me about my professional life or any other life. She's saying that's too much. And some of you guys got it, that women just want to bring the bare minimum. And I'm raising the bar and say you need to bring more. Right, Brian. Sexual validation. Women will take sexual validation and take that little grain of rice and turn it into a huge mountain of validity when all they did was get a little sex. What are as men, are we accepting bare minimum from women? Because two things, as boys, we were told we only want one thing and we bought into it. And then women bought into it also. So they think that they bring the bare minimum and they'll marry you and say, well, I took care of the kids and I cleaned the house. You should be happy. What more do you want? I brought you a beer. I mean, is that really a marriage? Like, is that really a woman who's a helpmeet, a team, a teammate helping to make your life easier? That's my concern. Hey, Brian, I think what you just said is on the money. And I think there's another aspect to that. A lot of these women know they're going to be alone. So what they do is have children as a way to mitigate that lonely feeling, to know that they have someone in their life. And they think this person is going to love them. It just becomes devastating when that child cuts ties or has minimum contact with them. But I think a lot of women selfishly have children to avoid being alone, because many of them know they don't qualify. Well, are we really helping women be prepared? Are we helping women be prepared to actually be a valuable person in a man's life? So we let them have a false sense of security that all they have to do is bring sex and be a good mother, and they've done their job and they'll put food in our stomach. Right, exactly, Brian. Right. And there are guys, I've had conversation with young guys who know I don't know if they knew it at the time, but now that they're in their early 30s, they can see they were they were a son who was a stand-in husband. They see it clear as day. I think a lot of women enable their sons to stay home. And he's never going to put demands on his mother. I mean, they're kind of conspiring. Hey, mom, as long as you let me stay home and play video games, I won't demand that you be more of a human being. And for her, as long as you don't demand I'm more of a human being, I'll let you stay home and play video games. But as men, are we letting women know where the gaps are? Are we just going to be okay with bare minimum and say, well, I have a woman in my life and she cooks and cleans and she takes care of the kids. But as a man, as a human being, are we really fulfilled with that? Hell, 38% of marriages are sexless. Yeah, chaos view. Yeah, that's a big problem. So, her money is her money and your money is her money also. Yeah, country boy, that's a big problem, right? So, too many women with multiple children is a big problem. So maybe this is where the problem has started, Brian, is that it's almost like what you said is that men gave up and feel like they have no say in it. And that's where the problem comes, because if men say nothing, women will think whatever they're doing they'll think mediocrity is excellence, is extraordinary. Right, right. And so having a side chick is actually, that doesn't solve anything. And I think a worse is having a side chick, allowing your wife to be mediocre, and your daughter sees that as no. Your daughter now grows up. You're actually training your daughter that mediocrity is greatness.
Okay, what are we talking about now? I'm sorry, I had to make a emergency phone call.
Or you just abandon me all the time.
That's all right. You can handle it.
What's it? Anime? Anime.
Oh my gosh, no.
So,
Y'all
um,
side chicks now. We went from women
no,
being
no, 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 no. We're talking about how. So, if men accept bare minimum from their women, then those women will think that that's just okay.
what's bare minimum?
Bare minimum is, hey, I come home, I take care of the kids, the house, and you eat. That's bare minimum. And I'm doing my job. And if you want sex, I'll have sex. But there's another fact: 38% of marriages are sexless. So if men need more, they need their wives to be more engaged in their lives and how you have to be.
In what
So where we started was with the pump and dump. So if you let a woman believe that she has validation because she was pumped and dumped, that's a bare minimum, right? I had sex with you and you want me. And the reason it didn't work is because the guy is an asshole or something, right? So, or he was just a player. Whatever the thing is, the woman never received an education on how to prepare herself to be a quality spouse. So then when they finally do get married, they've got a string of bare minimum relationships and they think that it's working.
But again, what exactly is it that men want? That you're saying that women are giving you the bare minimum. What exactly is
Well,
it?
see, then that's what we're talking about also. I think part of the problem is that I said, one, men bought into this idea that the only thing they want as a man is sex, and that's what it means to be a man. And then you have women buy into that, and they come to a relationship believing that, well, if that's all I have to provide for him, I'm doing my job. And so as we're talking about women who are the prize and that 5% and what they're contributing at that level, when I asked you why aren't women learning this or why don't they know it, you said, well, in that 5%, their mothers and grandmothers are teaching them. They're teaching them femininity, traditional values, be conservative, how to educate and care for your children, how to engage your husband, not only sexually, but intellectually, right? And how to make life easier for him. And networking is one way to make life easier. What are the things that you can do in his life that supports his success and making life easier if he's out there, especially if he's a guy who's putting in those 12-hour days, whether he's an attorney or an executive or an entrepreneur. What are the things you can do to make life easier for him? And I don't think most women are thinking that way. Like I expect you to protect and provide. That's your job, and that's it. So how do you now come together as a team so that I hate to say it this way, but there's some level of elevation on both parts. If you make life easier for him, he elevates, and you're going right with him. And then he's going to do things. He's going to purchase things. He's going to take trips. He's going to have time to care for you and the kids so that life is easier for you. So it's like you're both making this effort to elevate one another. And I know, life happens. Things happen, right? Things go wrong. And so conflict resolution skills. Have you prepared and developed yourself for the things when they do go wrong, and you know how to more effectively engage your spouse and your children as opposed to making life more difficult? And I don't think all those things are really thought through by people, by men knowing they can expect it, and by women understanding these are valuable things to bring to the relationship. So the marriage becomes an expanded version of pump and dump. This is an interesting comment. Black women bring cooperation and submission to white men at the workplace and interracial relationships. What do you think of that?
You're asking me what I think of that?
Yes.
I think that Black women are very bad at vetting Black men, but they're meeting men who is not worthy of submission and cooperation because their inability to lead. And usually when interracial dating happens, it doesn't happen in a vacuum of your social circle, what you're used to. So when you step out of your social circle and you step out of your box, you tend to meet the type of guy that you actually desire, and sometimes that happens to be a person in a different race. As far as submitting to at work, it's easy to submit to something that you're getting a benefit from. Like if she's having to work because she has to take care of herself, take care of her kids, of course she's going to submit to that. Why? Because that's where she's getting her paycheck from.
So
livelihood. So if men were, so imagine if if you know that a woman is capable of submitting so that she can get, her livelihood is taken care of, then why can't Black men provide that? If you know that that's what it takes for a Black woman to submit, then why can't you provide that? Why aren't Black men willing to do that?
what about the ones who do and they still don't get that?
The ones who provide,
they're
providers. I don't.
They exist. There are a lot of guys who are middle class who can provide. Not everyone lives in New York.
But what I'm saying is he's the breadwinner. He's making sure home is taken care of. Oh, I don't know what's going on. He's making sure home is taken care of. He's paying the bills, right? If that's taken care, I mean, sometimes the anomaly is, the outlier is that usually there are going to be some women who are not going to be satisfied either way. It doesn't even matter.
A perfect example is Will Smith.
He's not a provider.
Tell us why not.
She makes her own money. She has her own money.
She doesn't come close to what he makes.
It doesn't matter.
To retire and do nothing. She works because she wants.
Matter. She worked just as hard as he was, and when he came on the scene, she was more famous than he was.
No, she wasn't.
No, everybody. Yeah, yes, it was. Everybody knew who Jada Pinkett Smith was.
He was the Fresh Prince. He was already a rapper. He was music. He dwarfed her.
He was on other things. She was in other things. He was the Fresh Prince. The Fresh Prince was popular amongst the Black community, but her star.
She was in B-rated movies.
It does, and so was he. He wasn't even in movies until he wasn't even a star until Independence Day, and that was what 1990.
He was not only was he a music star, he was an entertainer.
Okay, again, just because you understand who he was, she was more famous than he was when they first started. She was in a different world. She was on a different world. That's how he knew about her. That's how he met her. She was already on a very popular TV show, which is a different world.
To be honest, I don't even ever remember seeing her on that show.
Okay, well, she was. That's how he felt.
That's how popular she was. I don't even know who she was.
Okay, because you didn't deem her popular, but at the time, she was the more popular one than him. He wasn't that popular in mainstream until he did Independence Day.
No, he was popular. Man.
No, he even says that himself. If you go back and watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, 30-year reunion, you'll see and hear the whole entire story between them. She was dating a A-list superstar. She was dating Grant Hill, right? She was in the in crowd because she was friends with Tupac. Who did he know? He was just a kid from Philly, starting to get into rap. And then he lucked up and got a TV show. But she was already moving in certain circles. She was already known, well known. So, and she was making her own money. And yes, he makes way more money than her. But if he divorced her, she gonna be all right. And if he never married her, she was going to be all right. So that's not a.
What does that have to do with submission? He's still a provider.
He's not a provider. If her money is going, if their money is combined together, she looks at it as I'm contributing just as equally. I work too. I work hard for what I have.
He's still a provider, though.
They don't even have a traditional marriage, so you can't even use them.
He's still a provider.
Okay, so you don't understand what I mean when I say provider. When I say provider, I mean a man who is paying all the bills. That's a provider. His wife doesn't have to pay for anything and she wants for nothing. But that's usually in traditional marriages. They don't have a traditional marriage. They have an unconventional marriage. They make up the rules as they go.
Could she have quit when she married him?
Yes, she could have.
Could she have stopped working and still had the same lifestyle?
Yes, she could have still had the. She had a nice lifestyle.
He's a provider.
She had a good lifestyle before him.
And then he's a provider.
He's okay. Again,
she could have never had the lifestyle she has with him.
Who's to say that?
Because she was a B-rated movie star. She actually got a lift in her career by being married to him.
No, she didn't. Her career changed and went down after she became a wife and mother. She was no longer, because he wanted a more traditional wife. She
took time off. I understand that.
After that, when you take time off as a Black woman in Hollywood, there's really no.
What I'm saying is this: she was a B-rated movie.
Okay, but what you don't understand is,
here's what I'm saying. By being with him, she got into A-rated movies.
She was never into A. She never got into A-rated movies. No.
She was in The Matrix. She was in movies with her husband. She was in The Matrix. That's an A-rated movie.
And he was in Wild Wild West. Come on, that's flaw. So
what? You can name, what's the name?
So name the movies that she was in other than The Matrix.
I don't even know. That's
exactly. But you don't even. I bet you don't even really watch TV and watch movies all like that anyway. That's why you're saying that, because her face isn't plastered on billboards like Will Smith. But the fact that when they first started out, they were on the same level.
All we're saying is that he provides a lifestyle that there's no proof that she could have ever gone.
She has her own money.
No. All I said is there's no proof to say she could have gone to the lifestyle by herself to what they have.
And there is no proof that she couldn't have.
Right. So she didn't. So the fact of the matter is she did not.
That was the choice she made, though.
The only way she got to that lifestyle right now is with Will Smith. Okay. That's the fact.
That's not. We don't know one way or the other. But you don't.
A-rated celebrity.
When I say
the highest paid celebrity in the world,
provider, I mean a man who is taking on all the bills. He is paying for everything. His wife does not have to worry about anything. That is usually in traditional marriages. They have a traditional marriage. They have a marriage where she sees him as her equal.
Listen.
So there is no submission in that marriage. So that's a bad.
This is the point these guys are trying to say. Even when a man is producing, Will Smith is productive. He's the highest paid movie star in the world for several years. He is productive in producing. What more does a woman want? What does she want?
I mean, y'all, you seem to have all the answers. So, I mean, y'all don't seem to care to understand what a woman wants.
She didn't have to work. She worked because she wanted to.
That's a bad example because that's not what she wanted. She didn't care about his money. She has her own money. A woman who
never married him. Why did she marry him?
Woman who has her own, because that's what society says. That's what you have to do: get married and have kids. She admitted that. If you watch the Red Talk Table, what is it? Red Table Talk or whatever it's called.
I understand.
That's what she said. She said she only got married because society says you have to get married and have kids. And plus, he's more of a traditional guy. And he was not going to be in a relationship with her where there was no marriage.
So we brought this up. We brought him up because it's an example of when men do provide and women still feel like they don't have to respect and submit to the man. Even when you're the highest paid, you're worth tens of millions of dollars, and still there's an excuse. All we hear is excuses.
No, you hear what you want to hear, and you concoct your own.
She did not have to work.
That's another reason why she resented and cheated on him. She didn't have to. Whether she was with him or not, she could have stopped working at some point. She has enough money to do that. She has enough money in her own right to do that.
Well, she's not equal to him.
Well, she wants to consider her. She considers herself equal.
Not equal, not in any regard.
She considers herself equal to him.
Now you're telling us she's delusional.
She considers herself equal to him because she has her own money and she doesn't need him. She doesn't need him to take care of her.
So now we see the problem.
That is a bad example.
Do you know why it's perfect?
Example.
Do you know why it's perfect?
No, because it's the outlier. Of course, because it fits your narrative. That's why you want it. That's why you
know. There are so many women who say, I have an education, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I have a job. I don't need your money. I can do it myself, so I don't have to submit or respect you.
But what about me saying that a lot of women, that's what they want. As long as if a man is a provider and can be a provider, you won't have any problems. Choose those women. Stop going after the women who say, I don't need you. Who cares? They're going to say what they're going to say. They're going to do what they want to do.
What percent of women is that? The ones who don't say that?
There's a higher percentage of women who.
What's a high percent? 3?
No.
What's the percent? What's the percent then? What is it?
A lot of women, as long as a man is willing to take care of home and pay the bills, and she is fulfilled, she's going to be satisfied.
Look, there are look, you know, in the U.S., all women have
households are 50-50, where the woman has to work alongside the man, and you know that.
Okay.
Because we are not built that way. We are not really built to be working outside of the home, but she has to. She's going to end up resenting him. And men think, oh, because you have a job, I have a job, and we have this great life, everything should be good. No, if she doesn't want to work outside the home, guess what? You're going to have problems. She's not fulfilled. And majority of a good significant, I'm not going to say majority, a good significant portion of women, if they had the choice to stay at home and not have to worry about struggling financially with their husbands, being able to take care of their families, guess what? They'll take that option.
So, Ghana, thanks for joining. Is that true? Do you think most women want to stay home and not work?
I didn't say most women.
What did you say?
I said a good portion of women.
Do you think a good portion of women go to school, get an education and a job so they can stay home and not work?
Who said anything about going to school and getting an education? I didn't say that either.
There are lots of women who have done it.
But that's not what I said. You're asking someone else a question based on something I didn't say. I just simply said a lot of women who work will simply, if they had the choice to stay at home and take care of their husbands and their families and their households, they would take that choice. Has nothing to do with whether or not she's educated.
So why do you think most women want that? It seems most women are. Hold on, you don't know my question. It's most women are shamed for taking that. Like I'm surprised when a woman it says, I want to be a stay-at-home mother. Like she's clear, that's the role I want to play, right? And she knows how to identify a guy to marry, and she has that life. And there are women who will shame her, like that's all you've done with your life. So a lot of women look down on that. I've also met women who grew up with a mother like that. They had two parents in the house, and they felt like their mother didn't contribute enough because their mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, but
they had to go to their friend's mother because their friend's mother had a professional job. Even though their mother was educated, their mother never took a professional job. So even women look down on their mothers who make that choice.
Okay, but that still does not negate the other women who, no matter what society is saying, yes, they go into workforce because of the pressures of society. But if they have the choice to stay at home and take care of their husband and children, they would make that choice.
I really would like to hear other women say that.
You really have a hard time really grasping that there are women who don't want to work. Why do you think they require men to pay all the bills? Why do you think they want men to operate in these traditional roles? Because they don't want to do it. Why do you think women now are catching on to that high value man? And now you see like it's this uptick of women who are trying to snag a high earning, high quality man. Why? Because they don't want to work.
I think that's after the fact. So they went into the work. They went into the workforce and found that the demands of the workforce was a little bit more than what they expected, and they don't mind working, just not at that pace. So it's, hey, maybe I'll just marry a high value guy where I have the choice. So if I can stay home and then work on my own terms.
Like I said, there is a lot of women who, if they could choose to stay at home, they would do so. They don't want to work. They'd rather not work. They want to focus on taking care of their children and taking care of the husband and taking care of the household.
So, okay, but so then we have another dilemma. Feminism said if men impose a role on women, a man is misogynistic and sexist. Like Let′s said, there are women who don't want to work, but they don't want to play their role either. And that's the other side of the problem. That's what we're getting at here.
Again, listen, that's not what I'm saying.
But that's what men are saying.
Okay, but I'm simply saying that and then you just don't pick those women. It's as simple as that. Like
the majority.
Well, listen, here's the thing, okay? Unfortunately, you're going to have to do some things to qualify for the women who are in the minority, the women that you want to marry. You're trying to change women who don't have the qualities, don't have the attributes, don't measure up, aren't fit for marriage, and you're trying to make them into something they're not. It's like what women do with the Pookies, the Dusties, the Ray Rays, the little thug boys on the corner. They want that thug who's going to be in the boardroom.
Okay.
Thug in a suit. So,
see, now we're back to where we started in this conversation tonight when I asked about critical thinking skills. Why don't women have the critical thinking skills to see that the path that many of them are taking goes against what they truly desire. And that's a dead end street.
You're asking me to think for women that I don't really associate with. I can't tell you other than they weren't raised to do so. All they know is what's around them. I mean, if you don't get outside of your social circle, what you're familiar with, guess what? That's all you're going to know. And so they were raised up under feminism that taught them that they don't need to focus on the man. They don't need to do all this. But then they get older and they go into the workforce. And just as the men are rejecting some tenets of their rejected feminism, some women are rejecting some tenets of feminism themselves. They're realizing, I don't want to work. I want to focus on taking care of my kids and taking care of my husband. Now, where he's at, where is he at? Where is that man at? Where's the man who's going to give me that life at?
Right. She probably met him in college or high school, unfortunately, and said, I don't need you.
Probably didn't even go to college or high school.
Who? The woman?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not talking about.
Well, a lot of women aren't going to college and high school.
They're not going to high school?
I'm sorry, not high school.
As I said, we're not in high school. We're not. They're not in this conversation.
They go to college.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of women going to college, though.
Really, yeah, there are a lot of women going to college, but they probably a lot more didn't. Not everybody's going to college.
I understand that. I understand. And it probably would be wise for more guys to take on trades like mason, bricklayers, electricians, crane operators. Those, instead of coming up with all this debt, there are a lot of guys who would be better off doing that. I mean, and some of these guys become plumbers and then eventually build up a network and a clientele that allows them to become millionaires because they build a plumbing company and they've got 50 plumbers working underneath them. There are a sufficient amount of guys who make really good money, and they're not part of that socioeconomic class because they came up blue collar out of a lower class, and they hell, they could be living in a trailer park and making $1 million. You hear? I'm not saying that's always the case, but there are guys who make a really good living and can provide a good lifestyle for a woman, and they didn't go to college. So you're saying that there is this, in your words, 1% of women that at least 50% of the men want, and that's like a needle going through, a camel going through the eye of a needle.
It's more than 50%, but okay. But yes.
Yeah, there may be some guys who want, but yeah, there are a lot of guys who don't care about that. Those women in that 1%.
Yeah, but majority of men do.
You think majority?
Because every time I turn around and I'm having the one thing that every man in every platform, every conversation that I've had, the one thing that they all say is femininity.
That does not put him in the 1%. Sorry, that's why we had that conversation already. We're talking about the 1%. The only thing I said.
I'm calling it a night because you keep trying to make the 1%, that 1% about socioeconomic class.
No, but femininity does not put them in that.
Yes, it does. No,
femininity just makes them rare.
You will not see a non-feminine woman in that 1%.
All I'm saying is being feminine. A man, look, 90% of men may want a feminine woman. That doesn't mean they want that 1%, because the 1% is well beyond being feminine.
More than 50% want women in that category, and I'm just going to
say that 1%. They offer a whole lot more than.
That's why majority of men, more than 50% of men would want those.
There is probably 30% of women who are feminine and don't belong in that 1%.
Not making any sense. Majority of more than 50% of men are going to want those women at 1%. Why? Because they have qualities and attributes that majority of the women do not have.
Okay, here's what I just said. At least 20 to 30% of women are feminine. They are.
Oh my gosh. Again, you will not find a woman who is not feminine in the 1%.
No, but there, and you won't find.
I don't care. I'm not going in this
No, what I'm saying is there's at least 20% of women who are feminine and desired by men for being feminine.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with
feminine woman is more
I'm only speaking right now. I'm only speaking about that 1% who have the package.
Listen, it's my 1%. So you're talking about this package and you're not even accepting what I'm saying about it. So I don't even know what you're talking about. To be honest.
That's the challenge. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No, you don't know what you're talking about because you're trying to hijack my 1%.
I'm saying 1% is a package.
Listen, again, you will not find a woman who is not feminine in that 1%.
That's a given. That's like saying buying a new car doesn't have tires. That's a given. But we're talking about the package, not one aspect of it. When I say the 1%, I'm only talking about the full.
No, okay, but you cannot exclude
that is like saying you can speak English and you're born in the U.S. That's like, so what?
Listen, just because femininity is not important to you does not mean it's not important to majority of male.
No, you're not understanding that the women who are not feminine are social crackheads. So they don't, just because you're not a social crackhead doesn't put you in a 1%.
I didn't say that.
So then all I'm saying is the 1%. I don't need to describe what they do. We already established what that is. And I'm saying at least 50% of the men want that 1%.
I'm telling you it's more than 50%, and that's all I said. It's more than 50%. And the reason why that is because that number one quality that they have, femininity increases the number of men that wants them.
So let me put it like this. There are women who are educated
let me put it like this. 50%, femininity gets them 50%. All their other attributes and qualities get them more than 50% of men.
No, most men won't even know what to do with the rest of that.
It doesn't matter, but they still want those qualities. Most men don't know what to do with a feminine woman, to be honest with you, but they still want one.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not, so this is not a knock. If a woman is feminine, it's really like, so what?
Okay, that's
no, listen, it's
but it's number one on majority of these men.
No, listen, the reason why it's so what is that it's just a natural thing. It's not a big deal.
It's not a natural. I mean, it is a natural thing, but a lot of women
operate
in it. It is a natural, it is innate, but a lot of women are not, majority of women are not operating in it.
Those women are tarnished. They're tainted.
Okay, but still, that doesn't negate the majority of men want a feminine woman. That's number one on their list.
That has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
That is number one on their list. What gets her above what gets a woman above the 50, that 1%, what gets them above, I'm saying that their qualities and attributes.
I'm saying something very different.
50%. No, because we started this, what you're saying, that 1%, about 50% of the men wants them. I said it's more than that. And the reason why it's more than that is because they have qualities and attributes that you can't find in other women.
Here's why I say it's only 50%. Because the other qualities and attributes, there are a lot of guys who don't even know how to distinguish them.
Okay. All right.
So there are let's take there are qualities that men have, and some women don't even know how to distinguish them because they've never seen them. And they may think that guy is weird. If a woman has never seen that, she may think it's weird. And she'll have no idea what it is and what to do with it.
People know innately what they want. Men, I'm not going to discount men and say they don't know how to
No,
do
no,
this.
no, no, no. This is
Like,
not about what you want.
but
So
it is
take
though, because
take for example a woman who has a very valuable network. And if you think that's not valuable, you'll meet a woman and not know how to leverage that.
okay, but that's not what I'm speaking on. You said only 50% of the men will want these women, and I'm telling you it's more than 50%. It's a majority of men because they have attributes and qualities that these men have listed. This is not something I'm pulling out of thin air. These are qualities and attributes these men have listed. Who cares whether or not they know what to do with it?
Let me ask you, do you think more than 50% of the men out there want a woman with a valuable network?
No.
That's why I
But
say
that has her network has not. I'm not speaking on her network. Her network is not the reason why she's.
but that's the women with the network are in that 1%.
But that's not the only quality.
That's what I am saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm generating a conversation. What I'm saying is most men are not looking for that 1%. There's a large percentage of men who are
But you're basing the one person that one. You only talk about one attribute, which is her network. There is so much more to those women. Those when I talk to men and I see the men on your channel and I see the men in all these other social platforms, there are attributes and qualities that they want. Every woman in that circle and that 1% has all of those qualities. So if it's majority of men are saying these are the qualities, this is a list of what I want in a woman. And
I understand.
those, guess what? That means more than 50% of the men.
But if she doesn't have that network, she doesn't belong in that 1%.
Okay, no, whatever. That's
She can be in the top 10%. She can be in the top 10%.
Listen, that's you saying that. But I'm the one who came up with the requirements for the 1% for this conversation. And you don't get to negate that just because you agree.
No, I'm generating this conversation about women who are the prize.
I generated
to be the prize, you have to bring a network.
Okay, that's for you. That's for you.
And that's
for every man.
That's exactly my point. Most men don't want that. That's why I say it's not.
That's not what you were saying. Okay, you know what? That's not what you were saying. But okay,
you didn't. That is what I was saying. I said most men don't want that 1% because part of that 1% is to bring a network. And if you don't have that network, you're not part of the 1%.
That's not true, but okay.
Oh yeah, yes it is.
No, that's not true at all.
Look, some people haven't walked in those.
A lot of women.
Some people haven't walked in those circles and don't know what happens there.
Who are in that category do not have networks.
And that's why they don't belong in the 1%.
That's your opinion.
I'm in that category.
That's you, but guess what? Those men don't mind.
You can't be in that category.
No, that's
in the top 10%.
No, Ted. You're not a woman. Okay.
I'm a man. I decide who's in that 1%.
You don't get to decide, just like women don't get to decide who is the top creme of the creme de la creme of men. Men decide that. So guess what? When it comes to a certain type of women, we decide that.
You don't qualify. If you don't have a network, then you're substandard. Without a valuable network, you're substandard.
You know what? I am not going to argue with you. You can clearly tell that the chat is not enjoying this conversation.
I don't care.
Because this is ridiculous. It's like it's gone off the hinges. It's gone off the rails.
So why did you stop me?
What do you mean? Why did I stop you? I didn't stop you. It's gone off the rails.
All right, look, I was saying this. I was actually saying something.
Okay.
I was only saying that there's a 1% that not everyone is after.
Okay.
It's more. It's the amount of men who want that 1% is much more than 1%.
And
so if the men who want that 1%, they have to understand what it takes to attract and maintain a relationship with that 1%, because that 1% is a small percent of women who bring very much, and they bring tangible value to the table. It's easy to compete with the women who have been taught feminism. That's what I was getting at. The majority of women do not bring what that 1% brings. So it's much easier to compete for them than it is to compete for that 1%. Much easier. And so that it's really on, as you were saying, that if men want the access to that target market, then they also have to compete for them. As I forget who said it. You have to compete for those women. And it's very different than competing for the 90% or even the 80%. And that's what I was saying to you. So attempting to get 50% of the men who want that 1% is like the saying of trying to put a camel through the eye of a needle, because 50 won't fit into 1. And that's what I wanted to say.
You do understand that all I simply was saying was it's more than 50%. But okay, we'll just agree to disagree. It's not really
that's a nonsensical statement. I can't even agree to disagree, because you have to have my permission and you don't.
Well, I'm just saying that it just really was a matter of you're saying it's 50%, I'm saying it's more, but I completely get and understand what you're saying.
I'm saying that 1% has a network, and most men don't care about that. That is one of the major things that separates them from the 99%.
As one of the commenters pointed out, it really doesn't even matter. The fact is that men want these women, and they have to compete for such women.
That's all I was saying. And trying to get 50% into that 1 is that's a challenge. That means if 50% want, that means 49% of the men won't have access to those women.
And that's what makes them the prize.
So if 49% wants a woman that represents that, this is what I was getting at, then the way they engage women has to go beyond pump and dump. It's what we were talking about when you were gone, is that if you let women believe that being pumped and dumped makes them valuable, then they'll have a string of pump and dumps and think that that's bringing value to a relationship.
What I don't understand is why is the conversation still on those type of women? Like, men should, the conversation shouldn't be on those women. I mean, those women are beyond, to me, those women are beyond, they're beyond fixing, right? So you know that there is a small segment of women out there who will qualify for marriage. So you just got to do what's necessary and do what it takes to get one of those, compete for one of those women.
But if you have 50% of men competing for 1%, 49% will get left out. Like there's unless men are willing to share 10 men to 1 woman, or whatever the number is, 4 men to 1 woman, that's most likely not going to happen.
Well, you have 80% of women trying to compete for 20% of men.
I understand what I'm saying. If you have 50% of men competing for that 1%, then it's going to be on men to get the women who are closest to that 1%. So the next 5% up from that 1%, men are going to have to change the way they engage those women, is what I'm saying. Because if you engage them with a pump and dump and they believe that validates them, then you're going to perpetuate the very thing that got us there in the first place. So they're going to have to change the rules of engagement. If women are truly going to be prepared for a percentage of men, because if the majority, if a big percent, I'm just going to say 50% want 1%, that's 49% of men left out. That means there's still a lot of quality guys in that 49%. Like a lot. And that's the thing that meant. So as Brian said, they can just go elsewhere. So they're going abroad, and they're not dealing with these same things.
And that's perfectly fine. I suggest that if you can't find what you want here, then find it elsewhere.
And see, this is what the problem is, right? So even if she's supposedly high value, her environment and circle of friends will poison her.
No, high value women hang with other high value women, and we all know how to operate and engage. So, no, you're not going to see a circle trying to poison her about men. There's a whole community out here. Y'all better get on. Y'all better get on Clubhouse. Get iPhones. Get on Clubhouse and find me. And I'm gonna point y'all in the direction of the feminine.
They're still having the same exact conversation, because all you have to do is ask a real question, and you get the question. No one even knows how to answer the question when you have.
What's that question?
I asked, for example, men build civilizations. What do women do to make life easier for men? No, women don't want to answer that question.
Yeah, one of those women did answer that question.
Yeah, I was being nice to her.
Why was you being nice? Why weren't you? Why couldn't you be honest?
I said, that's good. That's so she's doing something.
But if you're saying you were just being nice to her, why couldn't you be honest with her? Being nice to her is saying, yeah, her answer wasn't exactly the answer I was looking for, or
it wasn't. But it was an effort, right? So it was better than what you
that wasn't the but that wasn't the community I was talking about, though. So
but it's the same demographic.
No, it's not. I'm telling them that there is a whole community of the type of women that they want. I'm not talking about you because you're an exception to the rule. We'll talk about this later. Them, they can find these women on Clubhouse. There's a whole community of them. So they're out there. You have to get on Clubhouse and follow me, and I'll lead you to the promised land. Oh.
I guess that Silent Lamont is making the point. Men don't want to jump through hoops. And see, women who are in that 1%, they understand that also. They understand, right? They understand out the gate they need to present they have value, because they're having a conversation with a man who clearly is valuable.
Exactly. Well, they're having conversations not with just the men, but with the women also, with each other.
Right, exactly. And that's part of their network. That is why that is so important. That is part of their value proposition, is their network. Like you said, they're networking with other like-minded women. They're not networking with other women. And those women are either with successful men, or dating, or making themselves available to successful men. And that is why they're able to bring value to their man, because they have that kind of network to other women who are married to successful men. And they do business together. They have social events together. And that's why I'm saying a lot of men don't fully appreciate that aspect of that 1%. And when women don't have that aspect of the 1%, they are not in that. They're disqualified. It's critical. And the men in that demographic understand that. So I'm not as, whatever the words you used. You didn't say outlier, but I'm a exception, or whatever you said.
You are an exception to them because your requirements are not the same as their requirements.
They've never heard anyone say it.
It doesn't matter. The fact is, I'm going off of the requirements that I've seen them see them speak on. So it's not for me to tell men what they need or what they should need. That's not my job. That's not what I'm here for.
That's what I'm here
I'm
for.
just here to assess what they're saying they need and let them know that that's available for them.
And I'm here to let them know that they don't have to take bare minimum.
Okay.
Anyway,
What are you smiling for? Why are you cheesing so hard?
I always do that,
Mm,
don't I? I thought you liked my smile. So anyway, do you want to say any last words?
no, no.
You're actually speechless.
Not speechless, no.
So
I,
say it.
I just don't have any last words.
Okay. So guys, uh, if a woman says she's the prize, she needs to be able to substantiate that. And not doing bare minimum, she'll have sex with you and take care of the house and the children and cook for you. That's bare minimum. If she doesn't have the mental capacity to be able to engage you in a way that brings more out of you than you would do on your own, that's the value of two minds being together. If she doesn't have the conflict resolution skills, if she doesn't have a network that helps move you up into a higher socioeconomic class, then she might just be talking. Now, she might want to move into that, and she might be what I'll call coachable, for lack of better words, meaning that she can be coached up. But some women don't want to be coached up, so you have to leave them where they are and let them know they're not qualified. Right? If they're argumentative, she lacks conflict resolution skills. Overweight, that's a dead deal. That's dead. You don't want to carry dead weight because that's a future of liabilities. Yeah, and a lot of debt, right? Poorly managed money. Managing money would also be something in that 1% that you would want. So, uh, yeah, that's a killer, promiscuous. So, hey, guys, I didn't know we were going to go this long. I know I say that sometimes. Yeah, tattoos, weaves, all that stuff. So, I want to thank you guys. We were talking about Are Women the Prize? We had Letitia and her perspective. As you can see, she doesn't have the brightest sunshine face
What?
that you know her to have. She got a little smile now, and it kicked. I don't know. I must have hit it here. But she had a little eye rolling going on this
Of
evening. And
course.
wasn't so happy. Uh,
No,
I so wanted to say this is a waste of time, but and you know what? Sometimes you have to talk things through and even go through the discomfort of things not making sense. I mean, that's part of any kind of relationship. And as guys, we generally know how to do that without getting so emotional and having being frustrated. But even though we may be passionate or assertive about it, so sometimes you have to know how to talk through that without demeaning her. And in no way, whether you've seen me be assertive or aggressive with Letitia, no way am I demeaning her or I have any um, point of view towards her that diminishes her as a human being and as a woman. So you just might see me get a little aggressive with her, and she may not always appreciate that. But you know what? Sometimes that's how cavemen roll, especially if they're a caveman who can wear a suit, no tie, but you
oh
know,
my gosh. Hmm.
women will appreciate that. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. They may not always like it in the moment, but it's in your best interest to be able to do that. So, Letitia, I thank you for not jumping off the ledge and disappearing when we went through the what people may have viewed as turbulence. So I appreciate that. Thank you for that. And and thank you for all of you. And I'm talking to you still, Letitia, for all of you to show up here this Friday night. And guys, I'm thanking you also. Yes, Letitia is a good sport. She is. And she has no tattoos to my knowledge.
I do.
You do? Where?
My shoulder blade.
Oh, get out of here. She has a tattoo. What is it?
It's a butterfly.
A butterfly, a social butterfly. Get out of here.
It was a graduation gift, and it was a graduation gift that symbolized a new beginning for me.
Okay. Transformation, right?
Yeah.
And transformation is usually not the most comfortable thing to go through. So part of my commitment, guys, is just to that. And sometimes it's not pretty. Like the caterpillar gets down to nothing and evolves as a butterfly to take wings. So guys, with that said, now that we've gone through this transformational or somewhat transformational conversation, went through all the churning and grinding it up to nothing, I want to thank you for joining me. Have a good evening. I'll see you on Sunday. And if you haven't seen the video I put out a couple of days ago, I even forgot the name of it already.
No, I'm not a free spirit at all.
It's OnlyFans running out of steam for women. So check that out if you haven't. And I thank you guys a lot. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you, Letitia. Bye.
You're welcome.